They called up Ederson, a central midfielder, to replace him. They still have Alexandro and Danilo, two guys in their mid-30s that, imagine with all the pacey wingers coming at you, like, they could get caught out there. The midfield looked slow and lacking technique against Morocco, where Bouhaddi and El Ainaoui were by far running the show. The striker situation, yes, Cunha, much better performance, but still, we're so far away from the Brazil that we all grew up with in the 2000s and in the 90s that had generational superstars. And I think that's why you got such a loud ovation when Neymar was called up. I don't think it was an ovation because the Brazilian fans necessarily thought Neymar would actually influence the game too much, because Neymar's had injuries. He's in the twilight of his career. He's barely played football, even though he's in the domestic league now. Neymar is a representation of what they used to be. Neymar is the closest thing they have now to the Jogo Bonito. Tony's right, is long gone. Even though he's playing at maybe 20% of his powers, just that little glimpse of like a little elastica or something fun to get them excited. Even though the Brazilians, they just want results, Neymar at least embodies that. So if he plays, great. I think that's a good storyline.
I feel, even though that era is gone, when I watch Brazil, I still feel like there's more, right? That Jogo Bonito and the flair went away when pretty much all the players started going to Europe, right? Because then they were playing a different style of football. But I still feel when I watch this team, like I'm always wanting more. We watched this at downtown, and by the way, it's incredible downtown to see just the streets filled with the yellow jerseys again, and every bar had the game on. And they were certainly rooting for this, but the idea was like, where is that? Where's the sense like they're building something right now? I said after match day one, I feel the same way. This is very much Carlo Ancelotti's like Real Madrid teams, where it's like about moments. It's not really like there's a flow and a rhythm to every movement, you know? There's a moment, Vinny Jr. in the first game, incredible goal. And then for a little while goes missing. And then there's some moments where he dribbles some, and it doesn't feel like we're getting towards that. But then I look at the names on paper, and yeah, a little bit older, no doubt about it, and maybe not nearly as fast, but shouldn't be in awe. Shouldn't lack technique, shouldn't lack the tactical nous to figure out the game. But that's what I feel like when I watch Brazil. Like, I'm not a fan of Brazil. I'm a fan of the game. I want to be entertained. When I see that yellow jersey, there's just something about it that says, I want to sit down and drink my glass of iced tea, and I want to be entertained for 90 minutes. Well, and yeah. I don't get that feeling.
Well, when you watch Brazil, not only are you not entertained, you can clearly see whoever's playing against Brazil there's no fear factor, zero. They've lost the ability to strike fear into opponents before they take the field. That was always Brazil. I'll never forget, you know, you look at the 94 team with Bebeto and Romario, then to Fenomeno, and then to, you know, the Ronaldinho, Kaká, Adriano phenomenal on the older side. But you always felt that they had that fear factor. And then even when we played them in Confederations Cup in 2009, they didn't have a Romario, a Bebeto, a Ronaldo, but they had a Luis Fabiano who was still up and coming. You had Dani Alves and Maicon. You had outside fullbacks that were bombing. You had Lucio, you had stability, and Kaká in the middle, still the playmaker.
Yeah. Who's their playmaker now? Lucas Paquetá.
And you have Robinho, who's capable of those magical moments, and Apato, who could stretch opponents and give you the speed factor with a little bit of class. Now you're watching, and I'm saying, outside of Vinny Jr., who still is not giving you the consistent Vinny Jr. that Brazil needs him to be from minute 1 to minute 90. But outside of him, where is the Brazil that's inspiring kids around the globe to play the game? You're not getting that.
We do have lots of comments of people that are agreeing that this isn't the Brazil that we're used to, that we're long ways away from the days of Ronaldinho, Kaká, or Nine, Cafu, Rivaldo. And then we have one person who's commented a couple times saying, you know, don't sleep on Brazil, don't sleep on Carlo Ancelotti.
No, they can still win games. No doubt.
That's what I was going to say. Do you feel like we're sleeping on Brazil, or we're not going that far?
It's not sleeping on Brazil. It's just calling Brazil for who they are today. They are not Brazil of old. They are not the Brazil to entertain you and keep possession and get you chasing and isolating you, and anyone in the front 3, 4, 5 can beat you on the dribble 1v1. They don't have those players.
The Brazilians are more like what we're saying now. We're being nicer than the Brazilian media, than what Brazilians are saying inside the country. They go into every tournament in the past as the favorites. They're maybe now 5th or 6th with the bookies.
No, that's even higher. And from what I've seen, 5th and 6th is being
kind to them.
generous.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the pre-tournament odds were, that they had right around the 5th or 6th spot to win. Brazil right now, when you look at the generational superstars they had in every position, okay, they have really good center backs now. The class, the elegance, the otherworldly technique that created fans. Ronaldinho, my favorite player of all time, Ronaldinho created who knows how many millions of fans. Because when you watch him play, you're like, this is the best sport in the world. This is pure entertainment. This is pure fun. Vinny Jr. is not that guy. Vinny Jr. is a brilliant footballer, nearly a Ballon d'Or winner, probably should have won it 2 years ago, but he's not that kind of footballer. They don't really have anyone like that. And Tony made a great point. When you take them out of the Copacabana, these guys are playing on the beach. They're playing one-touch football on the sand, and you're putting them from a young age in Europe where they're all playing the same. They're almost doing these robotic drills behind the scenes. They turn out that the Brazilians play like almost every other nation. That's why we have this uniformity where so many nations kind of just blend into each other, and we don't have the identity of decades ago, before the scouting system, before Y-Scout, before you could find a guy that was 10 years old through some crazy data analytics.
But you say
these guys were used to they were playing on the beach until they were teenagers.
Yeah,
now they're in Europe.
You say that, and I went to most recently a futsal tournament in Massachusetts, and we had Palmeiras come and Santos come. And those players had that.
But they're sticking with futsal. Are they coming over to football?
No, they're coming over to real football. But
Where are they? We need them
this
now.
is U11, right? So we're talking kids that are 10 years old, 11 years old, coming from Brazil to play in this tournament. There was also Barcelona, but those players were futsal players, not real footballers on the pitch. But
are you ready to go?
they had what everyone's been waiting for Brazil. These kids had the ingenuity to come up with the rainbow flicks and the step overs and what you would expect to see from Neymar, what you would expect to see from Ronaldinho. And I'm saying, where is that getting lost in translation? Is it that simple of, hey, when you move over to Europe, enough of that?
So there's a question here saying, is Europe becoming a problem for Brazilians in Brazil?
I don't know if I'd use the word problem, but just take like two young players like an Endrick, right? Who's comes with like a big name to get to Europe. Estevao, another young player over the last couple seasons, has been like, this is the next guy, right? And what happens when they get to Europe, right? Do those guys play all that much? Right, Endrick couldn't find a minute under Ancelotti, you know, and they changed their style of play. Why? I just how many young Brazilians have gone in now and just lit up with I'll say Ronaldinho type. There's not Ronaldinho's, but just because people understand that style of football, the flair, the ingenuity, the tricks, the flicks, the dribbling, the occasional shot from 50 yards where you beat the goalkeeper, like that kind of mentality. How many young Brazilians have done that in Europe?
Can I ask you something? As a coach, we've seen now in Europe, a guy attempts something crazy, the coach is freaking out, saying, keep it simple, keep it simple. How many of these coaches as well, behind the scenes, are like, well, just do the concrete thing. Play the quick 1-2. Don't try these step overs and these high-risk moves. So is it even the coaches that are kind of taking the beauty out because they're scared to upset the manager on the touchline?
So we're not there, obviously. But when I look at Ronaldinho, I always looked at Ronaldinho or even great Neymar, right? They do the thing that comes off 1% of the time, but they do it, right? Where now I look at players around the world, it's easier to do the thing that comes off 90% of the time. Why? You have to have that kind of courage to do it. I just don't, like I look, who are the most creative players in the world? Like who are the flair guys right now? I don't know that you can pick 10 like flair guys in Europe anymore.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Cherokee is the one that comes to mind, right?
He's a street footballer.
But I look at Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United when he was doing all the step overs and he was entertaining. He was a winger. When he went to Real Madrid, he said, I'm simplifying my game. I'm not wasting energy, and I'm not doing everything that entertain people, right? Cristiano Ronaldo was full fun. I love to watch the Man United Cristiano Ronaldo. When he went to Real Madrid, it was, I only care about scoring, minimal dribbling. Like he dribbled at times, but he was not
still does it just to kind of tease the crowd, but it doesn't get him anywhere now.
He wasn't doing the United stuff where him and Ashley Cole on the side and he's doing all this and you're like, oh, ole. I miss that. But when you see Cristiano Ronaldo and he's scoring 60 goals and 70 goals a season, you're saying, how can you argue that I shouldn't be doing this versus entertaining
I think
people.
the team that has their identity, and the first game wasn't a good recollection of that, but I think Spain right now is the team that has a clear identity from the second that you start as a 10-year-old to the top level. That tiki-taka, the passing system, I think they have the clearest, most obvious style of football.
Except for
and a
Lamine
lot of
Yamal.
countries have kind of gone away from that.
But Lamine Yamal is an outlier. That he's the player.
That's why
that
he's
can-
the unicorn on the
can
field.
do the-
He looks
the
different from
different.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we talk about flair, at least for Brazil, they are saying reportedly that Neymar could be back with the team for Scotland, which will be super important as Rafinha came out of the game early with an injury. Adelante.
¿Qué pasa? Oh, wow. ¿Qué está sucediendo?
England fans will be getting ready for today's big game.
Getting ready for the countdown that begins on the screens in each corner of the stadium for the fans to take over after the PA announcer starts them all off. Yan Diamande's moved around his Ivorian teammates and given them all a big hug, and we are underway in Toronto. Germany against the Ivory Coast. Germany starters off. They are from left to right in the opening 45 minutes, already playing a long ball to the edge of the box, which is nudged down, and effort comes in but over the bar. So they're left to right, white shirts with the almost the German flag running across their chest in a diagonal pattern, the black, red and yellow. And it's hooked over the bar by Kai Havertz, as we see on the replay. Florian Wirtz in control. Ivory Coast from right to left, orange outfits from the shirts, shorts and socks.
Yes, interesting as well, Mike, that Yan Diamande has come to this left side, so he looks as if he's the one who's going to have the first task will be to try and unsettle Joshua Kimmich, the Germany captain.
Plays at right back, or in the right wing position, does Kimmich. He's a midfielder by trade, one of these many players that has been converted into this attacking fullback role, the inverted fullback role by Pep Guardiola from his time at Bayern Munich. It's stuck with him. He does prefer the midfield, but managers, as we're seeing with Julian Nagelsmann, preferring him in that right back role.
Yeah, Mr. Versatile, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, hasn't he been over the last 7 or 8 years? Joshua Kimmich, top-class footballer, so reliable in most roles, but Diamande is the quicker of the two Ivorian wide players. Just seeing he's limping a little bit. Took a whack in the chest and somebody's drifting towards this left side.
Yeah, rather concerningly, just had his hand on his chest there, but he seems to be okay. He's moving, although albeit gingerly. It's a half jog at best for Yan Diamande. He's not putting too much pressure on the back line. Nobody is, as Manuel Neuer, all in blue with bright pink gloves, moves the ball out of his own penalty area away to our left-hand side. It's a long diagonal ball, cross field, headed down by Conan, only into the path of Felix Metscher, brother of the Leeds United man Lucas. Ball into the centre circle for the Germans, and now Nico Schlotterbeck can just move into the Ivorian half. Another left-footed long field ball flicked out towards this near side. Leroy Sané with his hair tied back in a tight bun, holes cut in his socks, just moves it in from the right-hand touchline. Near side for Jenny now. Kimmich with his shirt tucked in, black shorts on. Ball brought down on the far side touchline from a crossfield pass by Florian Wirtz. Germany enjoying a lot of the ball and keeping the possession, switching it from side to side, being patient with it. And the Ivorians, slight press, and have won the ball midway inside their own half. Yan Diamande goes to ground, quickly gets back up on his feet. As forward comes Bonny down the middle. Diamande pulls out towards the left-hand side. Ahmad checks his line on the far side of the penalty area. Diamande into the box, darts towards the byline, pulls it across goal, takes a deflection, which takes it away from Bonny, and Germany can bring it away with Sané.
Got the bodies back, didn't they, Germany, as Yan Diamande was threatening just inside the box on the left side. Leroy Sané made a 40-yard run to make sure that he was seen to be helping out his team defensively. Absolutely no shirking early on in the game.
Man who divides opinion in Germany. Sometimes you get... I always used to think when you watched him at Manchester City, within the first 3 touches, you knew what you were getting from Leroy Sané. You were either going to get a world-class performance or it was just slightly off boil.
Yeah, I don't think he was in great form the last season before he left Bayern Munich, and then he's been at Galatasaray, is it? Yeah, in Turkey, yeah. And don't think pulled up too many trees. Not for I saw a few of the performances actually, and he seemed to be a little bit, let's say, off colour. But Nagelsmann is certainly a fan.
He was booed in March when he was recalled to the international setup with Germany. 0-0 at the moment, nearly 4 minutes played. Ivorians have got into the box. Germany have had the first shot. Here comes Ivory Coast down the right-hand side. Bonney tries the early cross to meet it in the middle. Offside given from the initial low ball in from Wilfried Singo on the right-hand side.
Yeah, just a sign that they're able and looking to play that early ball if they can. And I've just seen a replay of Jan Diamande going on the outside of Joshua Kimmich, who was clearly beaten, and going for the cutback just about 8 yards out from goal, and a nice block, sliding tackle by Jonathan Tah.
Lurching in, wasn't he? But he had to be committed, and was. As Germany moved down the left-hand side with Weerts. There is a pointing Brown ahead of him, making the run, but doesn't receive the ball. Weerts came inside. The Ivory Coast have played it back to their goalkeeper, Yaya Fofana, who hacks it out of play.
Sorry, Mike, the good thing for Germany is that they know all about Jan Diamande, don't they? They see him on a regular basis. No surprises here, as special as he may become over the next few campaigns. It's a guy who they would have seen, all the players, most of them would have played against him on a couple of occasions. No surprises. Yeah,
12 goals, 8 assists in the Bundesliga this season for RB Leipzig. The 19-year-old attracting plenty of attention. 0-0, 5 minutes played in Toronto. The stadium usually has the effect of being 3 quarters built. 2 tiered stands run the full length of the pitch. The second tier set far back from the first tier. Behind one goal, a single tiered effort that kind of completes that aesthetic. That's away to our right-hand side. But away to the left, a small single-tiered stand is usually loomed over by LED giant screens. Almost gives the effect that that stand isn't fully built, but they've built a temporary stand for the World Cup consisting of scaffolding. They've covered it up with some nice coverings that stretches way back from the goal. A little bit like, if you remember, Ekaterinburg in Russia in 2018, that kind of temporary stand that goes so far back from the pitch, shallowed angle. And that's what they've built here to get the attendance up to 45,000, which is the minimum requirement at a FIFA World Cup match. Blue skies, few clouds in the air, but they're not going to cause much problems. Half the pitch in shade from the stand on this near side, but it's the ball on the far side in the sunshine with Weerts as he tries to just roll the ball into the path of an advancing Brown. Fofana's got to be quick here under a little bit of pressure inside his own penalty area. And Zane closes down Conan, comes off the German. Ivorian throw in the left-back position.
Yeah, I think you'll probably see that when he does get a few touches on the ball offensively. Leroy Zane will be looking to come inside. He's just like Conan, who's a strong defender, loves to get forward himself. And imagine that his remit is the opening 15-20 minutes of the game at least is to make sure that he's tight defensively.
Bonney, nice turn, goes over the halfway line. Now Jonathan Tah is trying to go back with him. Born to a German mother, Tah, but an Ivorian father. Here's Diamande right close to the touchline. He squeezes past one, tries to go past two. They've doubled up on him. Tah gets in a touch, but only sends it into the path of Bonney. Controlled down by Frank Kessie, the captain, but...
Poor touch.
Yeah, the touch wasn't great. He's had to retreat just a little bit. Tries to feed it inside. 2 poor touches. Firstly, the control from Frank Kessie, and the pass inside is intercepted.
Yeah, they're the kind of opposite. Just let this counter-attack.
Germany coming forward with Zane the furthest man. They've played it down the middle of the line to him, but intercepted by Kasunu, and Ivory Coast will go again.
Good pace at the back as well, the Ivorians. Be surprised and disappointed actually if they're beating with too many through balls like that, as long as they don't get one of the back line trying to play offside when it's not coordinated well enough. Got to make sure that they, when they get the opportunities, they do have the ball in the German half. Even if they slow the tempo down, just make sure that they take a few touches, force Germany to get into their defensive shape.
Here is In-Out, plays it out to Diamande on this near side, but back central it comes for Christian In-Out. Fancies a little change of pace up against Mecha, but Mecha's long legs did the job there, won the ball back fairly. And Germany have the ball midway inside their own half. 8 minutes played, Germany 0, Ivory Coast 0. BBC Radio 5 live earlier. Netherlands beating Sweden by 5 goals to 1. It was the Premier League show in Houston. 2 for Brian Brobby, 2 for Cody Gakpo, 1 for Somerville, where the Netherlands were concerned. And Anthony Elanga got Sweden's goal, so all 6 scored by Premier League players.
Amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. Thumping, resounding victory.
Big fan of Aaron Paul's assessment of Netherlands beating Sweden with his headline of daylight robbery. I'm sure he'll be milking that. He's done well there, hasn't he?
It's not bad.
See what headlines they can write in this game. The winner will progress through the knockouts. Low ball in from the left-hand side. Havertz with the layoff. Can't quite find a chasing Wirtz to the edge of the D. But quick harrying by Germany's won the ball back. And it's Wirtz to retrieve the possession. Mecha slides it to his left-hand side. Schlotterbeck wanted the run of Brown but couldn't feed the ball. Didn't have the vision to find the left-back getting forward for Germany. Kimmich bending ball in. Header from Havertz. Oh, what a save from Fofana. Had to stretch low down to his right-hand side and got there just before the ball crept in the corner. Clever header from Havertz, who's already scored once, in fact twice at this World Cup, and very nearly opened it against the Ivory Coast.
Yeah, it's across from about 25 yards from goal. It's Joshua Kimmich, the captain, who swings the ball in. Lots of pace on it as well. Havertz doesn't really get so much purchase on it. The goalkeeper is actually moving towards his left. Yahya Fofana. It was almost as if he's wrong-footed, smartly just shuffled himself across and gets 2 hands to it, parries it away. Havertz will be disappointed that he doesn't get a little bit more purchase on it.
Julian Nagelsmann, the Germany head coach, in his black casual t-shirt, black trousers, hands on the back of his head that didn't go in. And Fofana, incidentally, was listed by Ms. Faye, the Ivory Coast manager, saying Fofana is the goalkeeper in his all-time African 11, and that's why.
That's a big call. Good save, though. I don't think, Kai Havertz didn't catch that clean. I think it came off the shoulder a little bit as well.
Faye believes in his goalkeeper, and it has proven so far just why he gets his backing. 0-0 the score, but courtesy of a brilliant Fofana save. 10.5 minutes gone here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Later tonight, Ecuador take on Kyrgyzstan. And that's the other game in this group, and then Tunisia-Japan, which completes the Holland game from earlier. The 5-1 win for the Netherlands over Sweden. That's at 5 o'clock in the morning. Maz Faruqi, Andy Reid on overnight duty in the UK. There is something quite disconcerting watching a night game in America when the sun's coming up here in the UK. 0-0, sunshine from Salford and sunshine also on the pitch of Toronto. Havertz inside the centre circle is muscled off the ball, so Ivory Coast can come forward out towards the left-hand side with Diomande getting towards the corner of the penalty area, flicks it back in, lays it out wide, cross comes in, it's a good one as well, but headed away by Germany, and then arriving at pace and catching it on the left foot volley was Wilfried Singo, but into a defender, ball ricochets away, it's out for a throw on the far side.
Struck it well. That was really good technique as well. It's a lovely ball in from Gislan Kone. He loves to get forward. As I said, the ball is played out by... Yeah, it was a super cross, really, to be honest. It was Brown who actually played it out. Not a great clearance. Caught on the half volley.
Yeah, Singo was arriving, and he hammered that with a lot of traction, but 0-0, and this game is being played, I think, in the way we hoped, Effen. I think this is attacking from both sides. There's no conservatism. If they can get the pace forward, they're certainly going to try. Now that pace comes with Leroy Sané on the right-hand side. Infield to Mecha just slows down a little bit for Germany, but Ivory Coast gets set on the edge of their own 18-yard box away to our right-hand side. All in orange, Jonathan Tah. Simple, right-footed pass into the centre circle for Joshua Kimmich.
So congested in the middle of the park there. As I said, Leroy Sané gets the ball and always looking to come inside. Yeah, left foot on the right side. It's so often they sort of almost like brainwashed a lot of the wide players these days, aren't they? To make sure they keep control, keep possession, don't waste the play. Some of that natural instinct of old-fashioned wide players, we actually don't get that anymore, which is a shame. We don't get as many crosses as I would like in the game.
Conan's provided one dangerous run. Joshua Kimmich, another one in this game. We're going back to the future, maybe. 0-0 as it is. Ivory Coast in possession. 2 strong warm-up games from them. They beat Scotland 1-0 at Hill Dickinson Stadium, the home of Everton. They then beat France in Nantes 2-1 as their final warm-up game. Beat Ecuador in the opener. So they are riding a wave of confidence, and it's a long ball down the left-hand side. Diomande will get that 5 yards from the byline, but his first touch on the outside of his right foot might come off the top of his boot, sends that behind for a goal kick. Disappointing.
Yeah, that was a waste actually, but he made a great run, and he wanted to come towards the ball. The second one just to deceive Joshua Kimmich and run behind him, and he left him for absolute dead, didn't he? Took about 12 yards out of him in a space of about 2-3 seconds.
Little concern here for Germany. I think that's Nico Schlotterbeck down in the 6-yard box. He waved the medics on. Antonio Rudiger's got his golden bib on in his warming up with a little enthusiasm down the near side touchline, but Schlotterbeck's got the medics on here. The wet sponges out, talking about going back to the future. That is an old school treatment there.
He's taken a couple of tablets as well. I wonder what's that. You've just seen the collision that he came clattered with Amad Diallo, but that's about 10 minutes ago.
I wonder he's tried to play on and it's just become a little too uncomfortable for Nico Schlotterbeck, a man who is described as oozing desire, toughness and terrific technical ability. They do need him at the back, Germany. They feel he has the best partnership with Jonathan Tah.
That sounds like his Wikipedia page, doesn't it?
Yeah. Written by him.
Yeah. As Rudy Volo was seen on the in the stands there.
Yeah, the grey-haired, although thinning at the front of it. Germany World Cup winner from 1990. Schlotterbeck has been moved off the pitch behind the goal here.
Left ankle has been manipulated just a little bit. I've had that done. That can be very painful when you've, there's a little bit of pain in that joint. Just try and mobilise it, loosen it up a bit. But when your ankle starts to crunch like that, I'm wincing right now just at the thought of it. I wonder if he's going to be back on.
He'll receive treatment. We'll keep an eye on the edge of the technical areas way to see the emergence of possible substitutes for Germany, who are left to right in this opening 45 minutes, attacking a stand with a huge gold FIFA banner that is hung up on some scaffolding supports for the roof behind the goal to our right-hand side. It looks like Schlotterbeck is going to come back on here. He's just on the edge of the technical area near the halfway line. Stretching out that left ankle. He's just pulled it back up to his hip as well, across his body. And Germany are lacking a defender for now, and there was a chance for the Ivory Coast to maybe capitalise. Fed it out to the left-hand side. Jan Diomande trying to feed it first time on the inside left channel. Overhits it, goal kick. Couple of touches in the last few moments. Yeah. Jan Diomande haven't gone to plan.
Idea was good, just the execution not quite there. But I said I do like his choices. Doesn't overplay his hand when there's one touch to be taken. He does when he's got the opportunity to dribble, run without the ball, run with the ball, run without it. So far, so good from what I've seen from the young fella.
We're talking about how this Germany side know Jan Diomande. Joshua Kimmich, who plays for Bayern Munich, was saying that Diomande reminds him of Kingsley Coman from the times that they had at Bayern Munich together. Tah away from the edge of his own penalty area, the Germany centre-back. It's played out to the left-hand side. Smart work from Wirtz, and it can release Nathaniel Brown down the left-hand side. It's a low ball that gets to the edge of the 18-yard box. Players behind it, players trying to race onto it, including Leroy Sané. No one in a white German shirt can get there. It's cleared out for a throw.
Yeah, the cutback from Nathaniel Brown just didn't quite find his teammate. He'd been best served just to fire it across the face of the 6-yard box. But that's not always the ideal ball for Kai Havertz. Doesn't have the natural instincts of a centre-forward.
5 Live and BBC Sounds bringing you Germany 0, Ivory Coast 0, 17 minutes played. Plenty of live sport still to come. Plenty has already been today, as Northampton Saints won the Prem final earlier. There's a shot that flashes wide from Jamal Musiala, left-hand side of the D. He fancied just an injection of pace. Quick turn to his right-hand side. The shot goes wide at the base of the right-hand post. 0-0.
Nice link-up play, wasn't it? Between himself and Pavlovic, teammates, of course, at Bayern Munich. Yeah, just collects it right on the edge of the box, looking to bend it around. A couple of Ivorian players didn't get any curl on it, to be honest. Just inside that left post he was looking for. But yeah, gets a thumbs up. Pavlovic gives him a thumbs up. Those guys know each other's play pretty well.
Jamal Musiala, who a year ago was playing at the Club World Cup with Bayern Munich in a quarter-final with Paris Saint-Germain, broke his leg. Yeah, terrible season he's had with injuries, but that started it. 364 days after playing for Bayern Munich against Auckland in a 10-0 win, he scored in the win over Curaçao. But he will hope this trip to America is more successful. Germany will hope it is more successful than 2022 as they go and try and win the World Cup just like they did in 2014. Dart to the right-hand side for Germany on this near side is intercepted. And out for a throw in. Pavlovic at the heart of that piece of play for Germany. 0-0. Here is Pavlovic again. Central position, midway inside the Ivorian half. Slowed down by Germany. Intense start by both. It has perhaps slowed down a little bit in terms of pace in the last 5 minutes or so. 21 degrees in Toronto. On kick-off, Kimmich finds Tar in the centre circle.
Yeah, no surprise that some of the edges gone from the game. There's always that nervous anxiety, isn't it, early on in matches.
Wirtz and Brown combine again, and Havertz tries to race into the penalty area on the left-hand side of it with that low diagonal ball played from that far side, but the Ivory Coast reacted quick enough. Fofana acted quickly, and he has the ball in his hands.
World Cup is no different, of course. In fact, that's exaggerated, of course, with all the expectation, the excitement. It's what makes it so special, doesn't it, Mike? We get the best players on the grandest stage of all, doing some great things, making some errors, of course. That will happen in pretty much every game that we see over the next few weeks.
Certainly will, particularly on the back of a long season as well.
Yeah, who can take advantage the most? Sometimes it's the team that, of course, that will make the fewest errors in the most crucial moments, as opposed to providing something of absolute brilliance. Go back to the World Cup of 2002. Oliver Kahn was arguably the best player in the tournament, wasn't he, alongside Didi Hamann. Those two players made a mistake each in the final. It cost them. Brazil won the match 2-0.
Brazil winners in 2002, the last time Brazil won the World Cup. Brown has the inside left channel to run into. Wirtz is outside of him. Wirtz up against Singo now, squaring up, and he tracks back a little bit towards the corner of the penalty area. Too many bodies in the way for the Ivory Coast, but the ball comes to Metch and a strike. Oh, it had a dip at the end, but over the bar. Did it take a deflection? I think a corner has been awarded from Metch's effort from 25 yards, hit with pace. The deflection looped it over the bar.
Inau was out well, actually. Did very well to block that shot or to divert it over the crossbar. Well worked from Germany. Florian Wirtz came in from that left side, as he will do throughout this game and the rest of the tournament, looking to link up with players in the middle of the park. He actually misplaced the pass and it fell fortunately to his teammate. It was some venom as well.
Plenty of white shirts in the crowd, Germany supporters. Corner then on this near side. It is short, then whipped in by Kimmich and attacked. Oh, Fofana spilt it, and Pavlovic gets there but fouls the goalkeeper, and it won't count. He puts his hands on his head. He's pleading with the referee. Paraguayan official in the middle. Great whipped in ball by Kimmich. It was attacked by Pavlovic. Fofana came and didn't get there, and Pavlovic headed it in, but does it stand? Efenakoku.
Well, that's a super leap, isn't it, from Pavlovic? I think the goalkeeper is very, very fortunate. Pavlovic almost turns his body in the end. Yeah, he does, but he's actually got his arm in between the goalkeepers, and as a result of that, no surprise at all that the referee has blown for a free kick. I mean, once upon a time that would have been completely accepted. In fact, he'd probably get away with that in the Premier League. Fofana is claiming that he was absolutely clattered. He wasn't. He never really got up in the air high enough for me. He was out-jumped by the German player. Lucky boy.
Well, Julian Nagelsmann has called Alexander Pavlovic brave in the past. He showed some bravery there to attack the ball and the goalkeeper, but as Fofana goes up with his two hands, it's almost in the palm of his hands above his head. Pavlovic attacks, and Julian Nagelsmann walks back to his dugout wagging a finger. He doesn't think that should have been ruled out.
No foul, he was saying. 9-9. We all know what that means.
Pavlovic now comes over to this near side to talk to his management team as we hit the midway point of the first half. Players thought there was going to be a hydration break. The referee said, no, not yet. Get back on the pitch, get ready.
He's stopping the players from actually going to the touchline and receiving instructions from the coaching staff while the goalkeeper is being treated, which
is the new rule that FIFA have brought in, that goalkeepers can't go down as a tactical injury. Now, the referee, Paraguayan Juan Benitez, thought that might have been the case, that it was a tactical stop by Fofana, but also midway through the first half, the players would have thought a hydration break was coming.
Well, the players never are really keeping an eye on the clock anyway, so they'll have no idea unless they keep on looking up at a screen, if there is one. But the goalkeepers can still make those, tactical breaks, of course, because they know that they don't have to leave the field. So what's to stop them? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well, this is what FIFA have tried to do in this World Cup, is stop players going over to the dugouts when a goalkeeper is down injured. Long clearance away by Fofana. So it remains Germany 0, Ivory Coast 0, despite that goal from Pavlovic, ruled out for a foul on the goalkeeper, just as Pavlovic headed it away from the hands of Yahia Fofana. 0-0, 23 minutes played. So hard, some of these stadiums, talking about players keeping an eye on the clock, you can't miss some of the big screens that are in these World Cup arenas. Quite modest ones in Toronto, I have to say, still large in the corner of each part of the ground, but certainly nothing like the huge LED screens that you've seen rotating around the pitch, hanging from the roof in the likes of the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, in Atlanta too. I think Dallas has got one, hasn't it? A large screen. Here's Zane, right-hand side for Germany, who are left to right in the opening 45 minutes. Zane up against Conan, just checks back down the near side touchline. In comes Pavlovic. Flicks the ball back out to this near side. Kimmich is there, and smartly back to Neuer, his goalkeeper. 0-0.
Oh, that's a careless one from Slotterbeck. Gets the ball straight out of play. There we have the hydration break now, or as some people would like to call it, the commercial break for North American television.
Yeah, so we will get a chance to watch the players come over. We'll assess what the managers are doing as they call them over. Why we didn't have the hydration break on that injury to Fofana. I know the referee maybe is thinking rules for rules, but 0-0 it is then, which means we can go and get an update on the latest from Headingley. England-Scotland in the Women's T20 World Cup. Phoebe Graham can fill us in with what's happening.
Scotland are currently 137 for 6, chasing a mammoth 200 that England set. They're in the 18th over, and they've given it a good crack. We've had some good scores down the board. Carter and Fraser got them off to a great start, both scoring 29 and 23. But it's Sophie Eccleston, the England goat, who took her 150th wicket and took the big wicket of Captain Bryce and the informed Darcy Carter. So Scotland 137 for 6, chasing 200 with 2 overs remaining.
Phoebe, thank you. You can follow that on the BBC Sport website and app this evening. The two teams in huddles on the edge of the touchline. MS Faye having a deep conversation with one of his players, the Ivory Coast manager. We can also go to Shinnecock Hills as well. US Open. Day 3 of this. Wyndham Clark had a 4-shot lead overnight. How is it looking at the moment, James Gregg?
Well, Mike, I can tell you it's going to be a classic US Open sort of Saturday afternoon. Wyndham Clark still leads by 3 strokes. He did bogey his first hole, though, so he's at 6 under par. He's playing alongside England's Matt Fitzpatrick, but he's opened up with 3 bogeys of his own, so he's now back into the chasing pack at even par. But good news if you're a fan of Rory McIlroy, because the Masters champion has played the front 9 in 2 under par, therefore moves himself into a share of 3rd place, just 4 strokes adrift. The breeze are blowing and a brutishly difficult day lies ahead.
James, thank you. 5 Live will have commentary from Shinnecock Hills at 11 o'clock this evening when we are done here watching what is currently Germany 0, Ivory Coast 0. Players just merging back onto the field as we get a lovely shot of the coastline of Toronto, which is behind the stand to our right-hand side. You can see the blue waters above the sky blue ceiling that is provided with very little cloud cover here in Toronto. To the other side is the skyline with the large CN Tower, that thin model of a building that rises up high above anything else in Toronto. The viewing platform, the circular viewing platform, and then the large spire that transforms even higher at the top of that. I'm pretty sure you could probably get to the top of the CN Tower as a tourist attraction, but I'll leave that to those who prefer heights. Samuel Eto'o in the crowd, yeah. Cameroon legend, watching on. Shades on, no surprise. Good weather in Toronto. So, tactical break over, hydration break over, advert break over if you're in America, whatever you want to view it as.
All 3. It's a long one as well, isn't it? 3 minutes?
3 minutes, yeah. And it gets added on at the end of the first half as well.
If they really don't want to if they really don't allow the players to have any instruction from the coaches, why not bring the drinks onto the field? Have one trainer or one person from the medical staff, bring them into the centre circle, one team one side, one the other. They can have their drinks there without speaking to any of the coaches. And it doesn't take 3 minutes for you to take on enough fluids. When you think about athletes run a marathon sometimes, or used to, without having any fluid at all, didn't they? It's only the last, what, 15, maybe longer years without the water stations, rehydration stations. So the human body can go for many, many miles and many hours without supping anything.
Certainly can. It arguably negates that goalkeeper rule we were speaking about a few minutes ago. It negates that when 2 minutes later Julian Nagelsmann and MSV get to call their sides over during the hydration break anyway. We are underway, 0-0, Ivory Coast in possession right to left in the first half. Netherlands beating Sweden by 5-1 earlier today. Ecuador, Curacao and Tunisia, Japan to come tonight. 4 more games for you tomorrow. Spain take on Saudi Arabia, Belgium against Iran, Uruguay versus Cape Verde, and New Zealand, Egypt. Yan Diomande left-hand side. It's a cross flashed into the 6-yard box. Oh, Ahmad can't convert, but Kessie can. The captain of the Ivory Coast puts them in front. Yan Diomande gets a decent ball in from the left-hand side. Germany couldn't deal with it. What Ahmad may have missed, Kessie certainly didn't, and from close range on the edge of the 6-yard box he puts it across goal, and Ivory Coast are set to make it 2 wins from 2 at the start of the World Cup. Germany are behind. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1.
Well, no surprise, Mike, where the danger comes again, once again from Ivory Coast. Ahmed should have scored, but initially it's a great work from Yan Diomande. Absolutely skins Joshua Kimmich on that far side. Didn't quite get the protection for the German captain. As a result, the ball fired across the face of the box from left to right. Yeah, a couple of German players miss it, and Nathaniel Brown can't do anything about it. He slides in, trying to block the ball. Amad Diallo actually got the ball sort of mixed up between his feet. Just had to dig it out. Got saved by Noah, but there's Kessie, who's playing on the right side of the midfield as well, but he does have an eye for the goal, the Ivorian captain, and calmly side-foots it past Noah into the net.
He skips away to the corner flag whilst his manager was jumping up, legs around the waist of his backroom staff. A big goal for Ivory Coast, and it's no stranger that it's Frank Kessie scored in the AFCON final win over Nigeria in 2023. Now he's doing it on the world stage against the former world champions Germany from 12 years ago. Ivory Coast leading, and it's Frank Kessie, the captain, with the goal.
Well, super way for the Ivorians to restart the game, wasn't it? And for them to get the ball back pretty quickly, as I said, the electric feet, the quick cross as well. There's the benefit of going down the outside and not checking back so often. It's hard to actually determine whether a young Diomande is stronger on the left foot or right foot. But Kimmich absolutely being ripped apart at the moment. The protection is not there, and they will need it, otherwise going to create just more and more opportunities on this left side.
Diomande on the left to accommodate Ahmad in the team this afternoon in the starting 11. Ahmad, who came off the bench to score the winner against Ecuador. Ball came in initially towards the Manchester United man. He couldn't adjust his feet quick enough when he got the shot away. Nathaniel Brown was sliding in to block the shot, but the ricochet came to Frank Kessie. And that's how Ivory Coast lead 1-0. Diomande's on it again here on the left-hand side. Lays it infield this time for Christ Inau. Now Ahmad. Kessie inside of him on the corner of the penalty area. Ahmad tries to take it alone. Kessie's going to make himself a nuisance. Quite a muscular frame on the Ivorian captain, a 29-year-old, who in the last game moved above Yaya Touré's 101 caps. He's now eating up Didier Drogba's 105. This is 103 for Frank Kessie. A man who can really drive this Ivorian team when they need it most, and he's done it again. Here's Diomande, gets the ball ahead of Kimmich. They race towards the corner flag on this left-hand side. Played back down the line for Conan. Conan plays a 1-2. Further towards the halfway line he goes for Emmanuel Agbadou, the former Wolves man, now plying his trade at Besiktas in Turkey. Moved there just under a year ago. As a backup for the 2025 AFCON side was Agbadou. Gets his chance today. That's a long stretch of the leg that works brilliantly for I think Kessie on the right-hand side, isn't it, again? Tries to get it in towards Bonny. Cross intercepted. Bonny's not giving up the chase. He has harried Florian Wirtz all the way out towards that far side touchline. A good 20-yard harry. A hustle on the back of the Liverpool man, and it's gone out for a throw-in.
All of a sudden, there's just that little bit of a swagger, isn't there, from Ivory Coast. Germany now have realised that this is the real deal in terms of a game. Just sitting back a little bit, saying, well, you know what, this is perhaps not the game for us to be throwing, well, not exactly caution to the wind, but thinking that we can dominate proceedings and be a little bit lax defensively. A bit more protection for our back line is now required.
Well, before the water break, the hydration break, whatever you want to call it, 4 attempts to Germany, 1 to the Ivory Coast. Since then, 2 attempts for the Ivory Coast, none to Germany, who've been a little bit lax since the restart midway through this first half. And Ivory Coast have capitalised, leading by a 1-0, 12 minutes to half-time. BBC Radio 5 live, bouncing ball long over the far side, out of play for a throw.
Yeah, applauded by his teammates as Kosunu drilling the ball from left to right, just slightly overplayed for Ahmad on that far side.
It is all over at Headingley. The T20 World Cup is going on, women's T20. England, Scotland, and Phoebe Graham can bring us the latest.
Yes, England have dominated Scotland by 40 runs. It's been an epic performance by England, but what's really won them the game is the final batting partnership with Kemp and Gibson. They scored 61 from 21 deliveries to really change the momentum of their first half, setting 200 for Scotland to chase down. Scotland have been outstanding though, 161 for 6. They've really put in a good show, and I think they'll be really proud of their efforts. So England win here at Headingley. They're top of the group and they win by 40 runs.
Reaction to that will be on the BBC Sport website and app. Thank you, Phoebe. England women doing what England's men are struggling to do, which is win. England tomorrow on day 5 of their test match with New Zealand will chase 281, and that's rather what they need. New Zealand's total 755 from their 2 innings. Commentary starts tomorrow morning on BBC 5 Sports Extra. A kiss of the ring from Frank Kessie, a salute with the fist clenched above his head as we get a slow-mo replay of his celebration. Germany move into the sunshine, then quickly back into the shade, which covers half the pitch on this near side. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1, 10 minutes to half-time. Really intriguing game, really enjoyable game of the World Cup, this. And one that Ivory Coast lead through the goal of Frank Kessie. Just
old-fashioned wing play is alive and well, isn't it?
Enjoying it.
Just sort of replay that as well. Kimmich was isolated. Leroy Sané came to protect him, but before he could actually really get there and help, younger Jan Diamande shifted the ball from his right foot onto his left and didn't take the extra touch and try and head in towards the penalty, towards that 6-yard box. Just drilled it with pace, low and hard.
Just thinking of that German defence and how they were organised or failed to deal with the cross from Jan Diamande that led to the goal. They were, just before the goal, going to bring on Antonio Rudiger, who was strapping up his left wrist. That injury to Nico Schlotterbeck, where he needed the medics on earlier. Well, for now, Antonio Rudiger's put his bib back on. He's continued to warm up, now sat back down in his dugout. So it looks like, well, it does mean that Germany are going to continue as they were with their starting 11, but we'll see just for how much longer. England women then winning in the T20 World Cup against Scotland. Tomorrow there's also on Sports Extra 3 County Championship action across the BBC Sport website and app as well. As Sané has it, right-hand side, midway inside the Ivorian half. The Elephants, as the African side, are known. And Sané gets it on the right corner, can't return the favour to Jamal Musiala, who was trying to get in on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Pavlovic has had the ball in the net, but it was ruled out. He had no options, as Efan Okoku says there. Germany have had to go back towards the halfway line with Joshua Kimmich.
Yeah, Ivory Coast are pretty strong in the middle of the park.
And the press as well, 2 on them, and they've taken the ball off Germany. It's 3-on-3 here. Diamande down the middle, plays it early to Bonney, just outside the D. Right-footed, curling effort! And Neuer with a little skip to his left-hand side, catches the ball chest high. It looked like it was planting in the far corner from Ange-Johan Bonney.
Yeah, just didn't quite get enough pace or indeed direction and height on it. So Manuel Neuer read it from left to right, always curling towards the German goalkeeper.
Emmers Faye was living every moment of that attack as the ball goes out towards the left-hand side. Musiala tries to get the step-overs and get the better of Amad Diallo, but Diallo wins that battle. Plays it across his own penalty area somewhat riskily, but it needed Sané to lunge at it and he couldn't control the ball. So here's Conan of the Ivory Coast. Plays it into the middle for Ibrahim Sangare. Defender caught in possession. Germany are in here. Purists squares it. Havertz, 1-1. Now the whistle goes.
No, that took a while.
The referee let play on to see if Germany could score. They did. Now says there was a foul in the build-up to that goal. I think for the challenge on Ibrahim Sangare. And now VAR will review. The referee's decision is no goal. VAR has to check and see something that perhaps says there wasn't a foul in the build-up. It was actually Odilon Kasunu, I think, on the turn, tripped as he turned back into his own penalty area by Jamal Musiala.
Yeah, it was worth taking a risk. He actually tripped him twice. He caught him with his knee, and then with his left foot, young Jamal Musiala knew exactly what he was doing. The referee wasn't sure, so he played on, but I mean, from only about 10-15 yards away maximum, you would have thought that he would have seen that one quite clearly. Nothing contentious there.
No. And play is quickly back underway. VAR happy with Juan Gabriel Benitez's officiating to rule another German ball out from the back of the net. That's the second one in this game. A little more obvious, that one perhaps, than Pavlovic's header in front of Fofana. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. 6 minutes to go to the end of the first 45. Germany here have a free kick. Havertz places the ball down quickly, but players are quickly surrounding the ball to stop him taking anything too clever.
Yeah, just seen the replay again of the double trip from Jamal Musiala, who felt he was fouled about 20 seconds early, didn't get it, and he was sort of just loitering, wasn't he, behind that Ivorian backline. As a result, they weren't quite sure he was there, but Kasunu sort of sensed he was, took a risk actually to flick the ball behind him, but got the free kick in the end. It's a good chance for Germany. Yeah,
good noise from the German fans as well, who stand to their feet waving their German flags over on that far side, some of them clapping and bouncing along in the stands. Leroy Sané near that free kick leaves the duties to Joshua Kimmich, who rises a right arm in the air, right-footed, curling ball in from a central position. Battles for it, both sets of players. It is smacked away by the Ivory Coast, and how about that for a volley clear, because Ahmad has the ball at his feet and he's trying to turn Nathaniel Brown inside and out. Good recovery from Brown and Mecha.
Mecha's a real athlete, isn't he? He covers so much ground.
And suddenly we're end to end, because here's Musiala up against Singo, turns one way, then the other. Musiala's now goal side of him, in on the left-hand side. First pass is blocked. Here's Wirtz, runs the ball across his body and his shot deflects. Lunging challenges from the Ivory Coast, and that will be a corner to the Germans. Florian Wirtz trying to create something.
He was closed down pretty quickly. It was a super run on that left side from Jamal Musiala. Went on the outside, and that must have taken the Ivorian defence by surprise. The first time, really, that any German player has been able to have that little bit of width and productivity. First took a poor first touch, and he just inside the box. The ball gets away from him to his right side. Then he tries to drag the ball back across the face of the goal, but Agbadou and Yuslan Konan with a double block.
So corner far side to Germany. Schlotterbeck trying to move into position. It's well over his head. It will come to Jonathan Tah. Heads it across the 6-yard box. Musiala meets it on the edge of the penalty area. That's blocked by a crowd of orange shirts. Schlotterbeck can't get the shot away either. Out for a throw-in on the far side of the field, and the referee has just stopped play quickly for a VAR check, which they've cleared very quickly for something that happened in the penalty area. Possible handball maybe from one of the shots, I would suspect, but the throw-in now taken off, slipping the penalty areas. Ivory Coast try and get it clear. Singo, was it, I think, slipped, but they've come away with the ball with some clever footwork, and they spread the play out towards this near side for Yan Diomande. 3 minutes to half-time, Ivory Coast leading by a goal to nil. Diomande stops his run, goes back to Konan. He's in out and back on towards the halfway line, just calming things down, because it did start to get a little end-to-end, this.
Which is great for us, isn't it? But for the coaches, you know, even if you are the side who is chasing and looking to get back on level terms, you get a little bit concerned sometimes. I think unless you've got real dominance in terms of ball retention, which Germany had in the opening stages, but I mean that's all changed, isn't it, since the goal went in? Been a much more even game. Chris Inau in the middle of the park has been outstanding. His ability to control the ball under pressure and move away from danger has been exceptional. One of the better players, if not the best. On-scene work, which I've been able to notice for sure, but nothing special, just nice and tidy on the football and always available for teammates.
And he's only 20 years old, plays his football for Trabzonspor in Turkey. Had the most goal involvements of any player under the age of 21 in the Turkish league last season. might have some work to do here. Oh, he lunged to clear that ball away first time. Did he catch the German player going with him? Referee says no. The ball raced away up towards our right-hand side, the end of which Germany attacking in this first half. Rogue header from Schlotterbeck out of play on the far side. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. Still to come Ecuador against Curacao. Tunisia against Japan. 4 games again for you from the reset in America tomorrow. Of course, also on 5 Live Sport tomorrow from 1:30, final of Queens. The American Tommy Paul against Argentina's Cerundulo. Zane down the middle, coming in from the right-hand side to assist his teammates. That narrow play that Effen has picked up on at times in this first half, as Ivory Coast now spread it wide. Yan Diomande, did he keep that in? He slipped at first with those bright pink boots strapped to his feet, but he recovered on the touchline to keep it in. Conan trying to roll one in between Joshua Kimmich and Slotterbeck, but Bonnie was checking his line and flat-footed.
Yeah, so far, unless Germany can actually find a way to get a little bit more from their wider players, I won't call them wingers because they're certainly not that. That's great play from Felix Metscher. You're going to find it difficult to get through the middle of this Ivorian midfield, working so hard as a unit.
So America and Argentina at Queens tomorrow. I did check quickly how quickly the USA and Argentina can meet in the World Cup, and it's quarter-finals if both win their groups. And then, of course, have to progress from the last 32 to the last 16 and then reach the final 8. Extra game in the knockout stages of the World Cup this year with this 48-team expanded tournament. Ivory Coast, who had a strong qualifying to get here, 15 different scorers, the highest of any African side. 9-0 win over the Seychelles was the biggest margin of victory of any African World Cup qualifier. 8 wins, 2 draws, 25 goals, didn't concede. And they've brought that form, plus the form of their warm-up games and the opener against Ecuador, into the World Cup. 7 minutes of added time, and the Ivory Coast lead 1-0.
Yeah, I think the warm-up games were absolutely key, weren't they? You know, just for them to build that little bit of confidence and cohesion before they arrive in North America. As a result, the players would have been feeling great about themselves. And the manner of the victory as well over Ecuador, late goal where they'd been the better side, certainly in the last, 25 or so minutes of the game, would have built their confidence. Nothing like getting a win when you've really had to work hard for it.
Wiertz now central, uses Metscher. Here's Sane deep inside the defensive third of the Ivory Coast. Low cross in, hits Agbadou, bounces behind, corner kick Germany.
First time outside of the defender. Cross comes in nice and early, he gets a corner.
Which Wiertz goes short with, almost level with the corner of the penalty area for Kimmich, who will want it on his right foot, but he's moving infield with his left. Now crosses it in early with his right boot from a near central position, comes to Schlotterbeck, 30 yards out, thought about the shot, steadies himself, then passes it out towards the left-hand side, a dinked-in cross. Havertz, ball was going behind him, stretches out a leg, the long-range effort comes in from Metscher, low, and hits a orange shirt on its way through. Musiala tries to take control just outside the D. And Kasunu, and some brilliant skill from Singo to push it past the player and run out towards the far side. Has the Ivory Coast coming forward now. Good recovery again from Metscher.
Metscher with great work.
Not for the first time in this game.
Yeah. Read the situation, saw that his teammate was beaten. And once he got alongside Singo, he knew that I'm in charge here. Such a key player in the middle of the park for Germany. I think without his ability to disrupt the opposition, athleticism to get back and defend as well, when the game gets that little bit stretched, Germany will be even more trouble.
Zane finds Pavlovic, Metscher, Schlotterbeck. It's worked from the right, now out to the far side left for the white shirts of Germany. Laid back to the edge of the penalty area, sliding field for Schlotterbeck. He spotted the run of Brown on the pullback, hits the boot of Singo, who angled his body well there to stop the cross. It's good retention though from Musiala, dances past one, gets a trip on the edge of the penalty area. Referee was having a look at it, he waves it away. Ball runs to Fofana, who prevents it going out for a possible corner. Nagelsmann turns round to the fourth official and wants an explanation for that. It was tight footwork from Jamal Musiala.
A little bit unlucky, isn't he, Jamal Musiala? I think, actually, in fairness to the referee, actually almost trips himself up. He's off balance a little bit as he dribbles right on the edge of the box, the angle on the left side. Amad Diallo came towards him, and in trying to elude him, just stumbled himself.
Yeah, referee made the right call there. Nearly 3 minutes of the 7 added on at the end of this first half have gone. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1.
Last 10 minutes as well, Mike, they've actually switched. Musiala has gone to that left side. He's been far more productive and effective on that left side, and Wirtz has come more central, trying to get involved in the play, but in truth, the game has almost passed him by so far. The Liverpool man. Things may turn.
3 attempts in the last few minutes for Germany. As Kessie, the goal scorer, the difference in this game, pushes it down the right-hand side for Bonny. Bonny in the penalty area. Schlotterbeck comes in, avoids tripping his opponent. Bonny plays it off Schlotterbeck, tight to the byline. That's a corner to the Ivory Coast.
That was lovely play. Frank Cassier just glided past a couple of players on that far side and just didn't get enough bend on the ball, a little bit more pace as well. If that was the case, and then Bonny straight through that goal.
And we get the referee's view of Jamal Musiala going down. He called that well. It was just the leg too far stretched, almost a slip from Musiala. No challenge from Ahmad, who was closest to him. Corner then, far side, the Ivorians right. It is an in-swinging delivery towards the near post, easily headed away by Nathaniel Brown, and out for an Ivory Coast. Throwing on the far side, Ivory Coast, who have only ever won 1 of 4 World Cup fixtures against European nations. A 3-2 win over Serbia in Germany back in 2006. Their first World Cup since a run of 3 that ended in 2014. They made 06, 10 and 14, absent for the last couple, but back and now impressing.
I like the fact that the referees are actually giving a countdown to the players, aren't they? In terms of taking the throw-in, don't wait too long.
Yeah, timers, 10 seconds for a throw-in. Same for goal kicks. And the ball is in the goalkeeper's hands. Here's Inau now manoeuvring himself forward onto the edge of the penalty area. Diamande, clever little touch to go on the outside. Can he keep it in play on the byline? I think he has. In comes Kimmich. Diamande slides in, prevents Kimmich gaining any ground. Germany throw, which Kimmich takes quickly. Leading 1-0 of the Ivory Coast. Kimmich back to Jonathan Tah. Neuer, 40 years old. He was stranded when Kessie scored the goal that is the difference. Possible handball against Agbadou there. Havertz certainly felt it as he flicked it up from close range, close to the chest of Emmanuel Agbadou. Good sliding challenge from the long legs of Mecha. Has won the ball for Germany. And now Wirtz forward. Havertz having to trek in field. He's been shown no room forward by Agbadou. In steps Ahmad. Little dance down the middle for him. Now Wirtz again for Germany. Right-footed low pass across field. Needs Brown to get a quick intake of pace to control that ball, which he does. Germany trailing 1-0. Less than 2 minutes to go of the 7 that was shown at the end of the first half here.
Should be made aware now, the Ivorian players, at the half-time whistle is about to be blown. Just becomes much more an exercise in concentration. You don't want to be sitting too back close to the edge of your own penalty area, but
perfect time to score. Been out for Germany.
Yeah.
Mecha, right-footed.
Just more caution, actually, when you have the ball. Don't commit too many players forward.
Ivory Coast have impressed in this first half. They've delivered as we expected them to do. They believe they can be the African side that goes furthest in this tournament. Following Morocco's example of the semi-finals last year, and they, in the first half, have been relatively solid at the back. Germany have had 2 goals ruled out, but for infringements. Here's Havertz, and Kessie took his chance when he's presented with it from a dangerous Diamande cross. Zane skips past 1, 2, 3, back heel into the path of Wirtz, puts it on his left foot, tries to poke it, goal bound. Fofana clutches at the ball down on the floor, given the lack of pace on the Wirtz shot.
Overplayed it, Florian Wirtz. Nice play actually from Leroy Sané, cutting inside into bodies, but the footwork was exemplary, wasn't it? Mecha just back flicks it towards Florian Wirtz, and yeah, a real goal scorer, someone with a real eye for shooting as early as they could. They would just allow the ball just to run forward a little bit and then drive it, but he doesn't have that in his game to really drive the football. Looking to dribble just a little bit, and that was the last chance of the first half for Germany.
Well, the Ivory Coast go in at the break, the whistle sounds, and they are leading by 1-0. Germany and Ivory Coast came out, started well, it settled down, but after the restart following the hydration break, it was side of the goal, low and meaningful, and it means, Aaron, at the break, it is Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1.
Absolutely huge. Efan Akoku alongside Mike for commentary this evening here on 5 Live. And Efan, it's been some contest.
Great game so far, Aaron, absolutely. As we thought he would play out, Germany were dominating proceedings, especially in the opening sort of 25 to 30 minutes, but only one side has really looked as if they've got the pace, the explosion, the ability to stretch the opposing defence, and that's been the West Africans, Diomande, Amad Diallo, Frank Kessie, charging forward from midfield exceptionally well, but not overplaying his hand, so they've looked as if they can really create some chances, especially from the flanks. Nice direct play, whipping the ball in as early as they can, just creating that little bit of havoc, and that's the way that, that's how the goal was manufactured, if you like. Some super play on the far side, winger to winger, if you like. Frank Kessie ended up in that wide position, closing the back door, as they say, and in the end it was a straightforward finish.
Efan, Mike, go and get your breath back after a breathless first 45 of football. Germany 0, the Ivory Coast 1. Let's bring in German football expert Rafa Honigstein into the conversation. And Rafa, you highlighted Joshua Kimmich in the first half and before the game, and you said that and he could be Germany's weak link, and it's that sort of flank where the goal came from.
It's exactly what happened. Kimmich couldn't quite keep up with Diomande. The ball gets in, and then it's a bit of a ricochet situation. But the goal happens because of that flank being targeted very effectively.
I mean, tell us, in terms of the second half, we saw parts of that first 45 turn into a bit of a basketball contest, didn't we? It was end to end. Do you expect Germany to nullify that in the second half and just look to absolutely dictate with maybe the Ivory Coast on the counter?
I mean, that's Germany's ambition to have that dominance, but they've been sloppy. Also, the physical approach from Ivory Coast has been too much to handle for Germany at times. They look sharper, they're quicker into the tackle, they win the ball back very quickly, and Germany haven't been able to find that rhythm. And we've seen 1-2 moments in the final third, once they get the movement right and the momentum, that they can be dangerous, but we've seen too little of these approaches because the Ivory Coast have been managed to keep Germany away from these areas so effectively. And when they break, they do it with so much intelligence and pace. It's really a very difficult game for Germany right now.
Rafa, thank you so much for the moment. At half-time, it's Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. Coming up, we'll get more reaction from the Oval, where New Zealand are heading towards victory in the second test against England. We'll also be back to the US Open Golf, and we'll hear from England's Rhys James too. That's all on the other side of the latest BBC News here on 5 Live with Mark Summers.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Iran says it has again closed the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israel's continued strikes on southern Lebanon. The US military, though, says the strait remains open and dozens of vessels use the vital trade link today. It comes 3 days after the US and Iran signed a peace deal, with the opening of the strait a key part of the agreement. Counter-terrorism police are investigating a series of suspected anti-Muslim attacks which have left 5 men injured in Edinburgh last night. Officers say a 36-year-old white Scottish man has been arrested. 28 people are still in hospital, including 9 in a critical condition after 2 passenger trains collided near Bedford yesterday afternoon. One of the drivers was killed. The King says he's greatly saddened by the crash. And the BBC understands the Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper is among a growing number of Labour MPs who are urging Sir Keir Starmer to set out a timetable for his resignation. The Prime Minister's vowed to fight any leadership contest. His potential challenger, Andy Burnham, won the Makerfield by-election on Thursday.
The 2023 Ballon d'Or France footballer is Lionel Messi. The winner is Cristiano Ronaldo.
This is the story of the greatest rivalry in the history of sport. A rivalry that split football into 2 faiths for a generation.
There could be no, Messi and Ronaldo are both great players. There had to be one that was better.
They 100,000,000% pushed each other to the next level. We were the lucky ones who got to see it.
I'm Steve Crossman. This is Sporting Giants, Messi v Ronaldo. Listen first on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport.
At the FIFA World Cup 2026 with Aaron Paul.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, approaching 10 o'clock this Saturday evening here on 5 Live Sport. A busy Saturday of action, though, away from the World Cup. England have beaten Scotland by 38 runs in the Women's T20 World Cup at Headingley. Victoria Bolly has all the details.
It's 3 from 3 for England, who lost the toss here and when batting first, lost their opener Amy Jones first ball, but a half-century for Sophia Dunkley, 40 from Alice Capsey, and a 61-run partnership off just 21 balls from the powerful Danny Gibson and Freya Kemp took them to 200, and that proved just too much for Scotland. Sophie Eccleston also took her 150th T20 international wicket in the chase. Sarah Bryce top scored for Scotland as they made 162 for 7 from their 20 overs. Big game now for Scotland on Tuesday against New Zealand, while England, who top the group, play West Indies on Tuesday. They've won here against Scotland by 38 runs.
Victoria, thank you. From Headingley to the Oval, where New Zealand are heading towards victory in the second test against England at the end of day 4. England have reached 182 for 5 in their second innings, 281 runs short of their unlikely target of 463. New Zealand's Henry Nicholls hit a second innings century, and at the close of play, he spoke to Ellie Oldroyd.
Henry, very many congratulations on your century. That's back-to-back centuries for you in Test matches, isn't it, going back to Zimbabwe last year?
Yeah, a wee while between tests, but yeah, it was obviously very, very pleasing, and yeah, it's it was another good day of Test cricket.
Were you feeling very much in the groove? I know you scored a lot of runs domestically during your summer.
Yeah, it sort of ebbs and flows a little bit, I think. You know, it was that sort of day yesterday. It was obviously very hot, and we knew if we could try and, I guess, stick at it for a while, then the runs would come like that. And I think we saw that after tea yesterday. Rach and I scored at a very, very quick rate. I think that's just the nature of the ground here and how the ball, I guess, across the square can get away quite quickly.
What's gone right for you here that didn't go right at Lord's?
Yeah, I think they're just two very different Test matches. You know, I think the Lord's Test was a bit of a lottery, obviously, with the wicket and the surface, and I think this wicket here has been a really good cricket wicket, and I think, you know, we've done a lot of good work, and it's been 4 tough days of Test cricket, and obviously there's one more, and, you know, we're 5 pieces of cricket away from, you know, what we wanted to do at the start of this Test match.
Are you hoping you can get this done quickly and then maybe have at least an afternoon off before you head to Nottingham, because it's a very tight turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's sort of the turnaround we're used to, I guess. But, you know, Test cricket's a funny one. I think, you know, we know how much hard work it takes to get 5 wickets, and that's what it's going to take us tomorrow. However long it takes, it might take all day. But, you know, certainly from our point of view, the hard work, you know, starts again in the morning, and obviously there's 90 overs in the day, and, you know, we'll be certainly on from the morning, but prepared to go as long as it takes.
Ben Stokes was not in action at the Oval. Instead, he played for Durham against Northamptonshire in the second division of the county championship. Stokes hit 95 this afternoon off of 118 balls. Every ball of every game in the county championship is available via the BBC Sport website and app, with the TMS pod available on BBC Sounds. Now, once we're done with Germany versus the Ivory Coast, here on 5 Live, we'll bring you commentary from the third round of golf's US Open. The American Wyndham Clark still leads the way, but a certain Rory McIlroy is making up ground. Ian Carter has all the details.
Yes, he's been making a really good move as Rory McIlroy today, but he's just suffered back-to-back bogeys, which have taken him back to level par. He's played 12 holes. He's holed some wonderful putts today, looking really good and relishing, Aaron, the challenge that Shinnecock Hills is presenting here. We started the day with 10 players under par. We've only got 5 under par as it stands now. Clark still at the top of the leaderboard. He's just birded the par 5 fifth to get back to 7 under. 3 clear of Sam Stevens, 4 clear of Xander Schauffele, and 5 clear of Sam Burns. Tommy Fleetwood playing the 18th, 1 under par for his round. He's in the group at level par. Matt Fitzpatrick's had a poor start, dropping 3 shots early on. He's alongside his brother, actually. Well, Matt Fitzpatrick is at level par. Alex Fitzpatrick is at 1 over.
We talked earlier with James Gregg about the nature of the course. How are the players finding out there?
They're finding it tough, and it's going to be the players who actually feel like they are relishing the challenge, which I think McIlroy is at the moment. It's drying out, the wind is still blowing, the greens are getting harder and faster, the grass is growing at different rates, so it's an uncertain putting surface as well. We're seeing a lot of short putts being missed. Really dramatic stuff, actually, and it's going to be fascinating to see how Wyndham Clark copes with this position. He's got that cushion at the top of the leaderboard, but he knows, and everyone in his wing mirror's nose. There is a real long way to go in this US Open, shaping up very nicely.
No one does golf on the radio like you and the team, Ian. Looking forward to it. It continues over on Sports Extra 3, and we'll be here on 5 Live after the conclusion of Germany versus the Ivory Coast. We'll be back for the second half shortly, but Northampton Saints have been crowned Premiership Rugby champions after beating Exeter in the final at Twickenham. George Hendy scored 2 tries in 3 second-half minutes as Saints came from behind to win, to run out winners by 26 points to 17 in Rugby Super League. This evening finished York 20, Wigan 72, Catalans 34, Bradford 24, Castleford 36, and Toulouse 18. In the World Cup earlier, it finished Netherlands 5, Sweden 1, 2 goals for Sunderland's Brian Brobby. There were 2 goals for Liverpool's Cody Gakpo, and West Ham United's Crescencio Somerville added a 5th. Anthony Elanga bagged a consolation for Sweden. Here's what head coach Graham Potter made of it.
Yeah, obviously really disappointed, certainly with the result there. It was a tricky one to analyse. I thought we did lots of good things in the game, attacked, had some opportunities, but obviously defensively we, you can't concede that many and hope to win. But we'll learn a lot from the game. They hurt us in the wide areas. First goal was from a long ball that we didn't deal with very well. I thought we got off to not a great start in the first period, and then came back into it actually second part of the first half where I thought we were the better team, and then we just started badly again in the second. Well, actually we started quite well and then we lost the ball, and all of a sudden the 2 goals and the game's gone away from us. The boys kept going, in fairness to them, they kept going, but like I said, it was one of those things that we'll learn a lot from.
Sweden head coach Graham Potter there. Sweden, of course, could still make it through to the knockout phase in World Cup history. Hungary are the only side to win their opening game by 4 goals or more and failed to progress from a group stage. They beat El Salvador 10-1 in 1982 in what is still the biggest win in World Cup history. Sweden, of course, opened up their tournament with a 5-1 win over Tunisia before being beaten 5-1 by the Netherlands this evening. On to England. They take on Ghana on Tuesday in Boston. We'll, of course, have full match coverage here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Defender Reece James has been reflecting on the opening win over Croatia and the mood in camp.
Yeah, the camp is good. You know, we are obviously happy, to get our first win the other night. But it's, still super early in the tournament, only playing 1 game, and, we're focused. We've reviewed that one and we're focused on the next one now.
A huge moment for you starting right back in a World Cup. So have you been able to digest that now? How did it feel?
No, it was an amazing feeling. It was something I've dreamt of my whole life. Since a little boy, I always wanted to, represent England in a World Cup, and I'm finally here living the dream.
People say it feels different in the World Cup. How would you describe it? What's it actually like being out there?
Yeah, for sure. It feels different than any other competition. It's the only actual competition I would say is a global stage. Everyone across the world is watching, these games.
We heard from the manager, Anthony Barry, and some of the players about the speech that Thomas Tuchel gave at half-time. Obviously, you've played under him before, but this sounded like it was a particularly memorable one. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I've been in dressing rooms before when he's come out with, many, good speeches at, half-time, full-time before the game. It's something that, I'm used to with him. I think a lot of the players were surprised, but I think it shows, his, willingness and, how much he wants to win.
Reece James talking to Alex Howe there. As mentioned, England versus Ghana is live for you on Tuesday here on 5 Live. Right now, though, it's the matter at hand between Germany and the Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast with a 1-goal advantage going into the second half and may just believe they have 1 toe in the knockout phase. But commentator Mike Maine, alongside Efan Akoku this evening, Germany, are about to make a change. Over to you.
They are. Perhaps no surprise who it is. Perhaps more the time that it's taken to sort this substitution out. Nico Schlotterbeck off. He picked up that injury, needed treatment in the first half, carried on. Antonio Rudiger warming up for most of the first half. Has been elected now to start the second half of that with that change, Efan Akoku.
Yes, we weren't quite sure what was wrong with Nico Schlotterbeck. We thought maybe it was his ankle, and he seemed to be struggling for quite a few minutes, but then seemed to play out the rest of the half with no a great drama, so perhaps he's just decided a tactical change is required. Rudiger, we know, is quite an aggressive defender, somebody who will absolutely get in the face of the opposition, so maybe he wants a little bit more of that in that German back line to be able to stem this Ivorian tide that I'm sure will come, especially if Germany are not able to get that goal in the next 15 or so minutes.
So off we go for the second half then. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. And ball played out straight away from throwing from the long clearance away. The stand on the far side, two-tiered stand where the second tier is set a lot further back than the first tier. Hospitality boxes separate the two tiers on that far side. The bottom tier, soaked in sun. I don't know whether there's good hospitality over there in the concourse and the fans are enjoying the beers and the burgers on offer, or they're just taking as long as possible to get in the shade because it's soaked in sun and a lot of red seats as Ahmad pokes the ball in from the right-hand side, cleared away. Ivory Coast in this second half are from left to right, all in orange. Germany, white shirts with the red, yellow and black V shape across the chest. The black shorts, the white socks are now from left to right. Maple leaf indicated in between the red seats by a white outline on that stand on the far side. Still clearly visible. It wasn't for most of the first half, which shows just how many fans have made their way into those concourses during half-time. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. Held up by Bonny on the byline. He might have got the turn on the two defenders as well. A third one joins in Metcha, and he can bring the ball facing in the right direction for Germany, who are playing it back to Neuer.
That was risky, wow.
And Ahmad charging in. Neuer, the 40-year-old, gets rid of it first time of asking. Had to get rid of it first time of asking. Ivory Coast pick up the ball with Diomande. Kessie, the goal scorer, midway inside the German half, and I just wonder how unsettled Germany have been by the Ivorian presence on the ball at the start of this second half, Effen.
Yeah, been a good start for the leaders of the game so far. Ivory Coast playing with the same kind of intent as they did for a large part of that first half, and now they've got something to, I won't say quite hold on to yet because it's far too early in the game, but they will have, of course, if they can get to that 70-minute mark, they'll start thinking about, right, let's be a little bit more cautious in our approach, which of course can be dangerous, but nothing so far that I've seen from Julian Nagelsmann's side that just says that they are constant throughout that. There's one avenue that they've been able to exploit throughout the game that says, yes, this is a weakness in this Ivorian defence.
Black t-shirt on for Nagelsmann, who with a slightly frustrated face watches his side go down the left-hand side here. With Brown, Musiala takes over, step inside from Musiala, and then as he tries to lunge for the ball and poke it towards the 6-yard box, if not the far corner, challenge comes in, deflects behind for a corner.
Great cover. It was nice feet, wasn't it, from Jamal Musiala. Links up with Nathaniel Brown and just cuts inside Ivorian defender. Kosunu was beaten quite easily, but good cover, as they have done on quite a few occasions, the Ivorian players.
Nagelsmann has, I think, just waved a hand at a couple of defenders to get further forward, but nobody of the three that are back took that opportunity on. Elbow length, black t-shirt on for Julian Nagelsmann, watching on from the touchline. Fair-haired, short-haired manager of Germany, Kimmich, right-footed, hanging in cross that Fofana claims with a little skip in the sky, skip off the ground rather, towards the sky, and clutches the ball with two hands and tries to release his teammate as quickly as possible in Kessie. Back down the line it goes for Diomande, and Conan, the left back for the Ivory Coast, is able to just calm things down on the halfway line. Ivory Coast leading by a goal to nil. They've opened the scoring in both games in this tournament. They've only managed to open the scoring in one of their previous 9 at a World Cup. Prior to this one, 3 previous tournaments, never got out the group stage. They win this match tonight, and they are set for the last 32 in the knockout rounds. Ball deflects up in towards the path of Bonny. In from the left-hand side. Tar goes over with him. 2 muscular-framed men battle for the ball over on the far side. Sliding challenge comes in. Ivory Coast throw midway inside the German half.
That was great play from Ivory Coast. Went all the way from inside their own box when the goalkeeper played out superbly well on that left side. Gislan Kone and Frank Kessie linking up well. And all of a sudden, you know, within a space of about 8 seconds, 5 or 6 passes, right on the edge of the German box. Nice and controlled in tempo, not rushing things. West African football is very much like that, Mike, where, you know, they can play out the the kind of tempo that can match the Europeans for long periods. But once they get ahead, they like to slow the game down and choose their moments when to be a little bit more dynamic with everything about their play, and that's exactly as it's playing out so far this evening.
And they emerge with the ball with the captain Kessie carrying a good 40 yards down the middle of the pitch. Uses Ahmad to the right corner of the penalty area. Back through to Kessie. Kessie's got space, takes the shot. The slip as he was doing so, it hits Tar, takes the pace off the ball, and Manuel Neuer is a very grateful goalkeeper.
Yeah, the ball just ends up just almost trickling towards Manuel Neuer in the end. Yeah, nice link-up play. He does slip. There's a block in the end, a big one, as it happens from Jonathan Tah. I mean, he's only about 12 yards out for Nkese. Lovely to the ball. He plays the ball out to Amad Diallo, who don't, once again, nice play from a young player, wide player. Doesn't overplay his hand, flicks the ball back inside to his captain. He's in a great position. As he said, just stumbled that little bit. Chance was lost.
5 minutes gone in the second half. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. BBC Radio 5 live. Toronto, the setting for this. Temporary stand away to our left-hand side, stretches way back from the pitch. They put that in with scaffolding covered by some nice decorative coverings. Ahmad forward at the other end of the field to our right-hand side. Checks back, lays it, the rising shot over the bar from in out. Right-footed, leaning back as he took it on. Neuer grateful to see that go over his bar. But that's 2 quick chances for the Ivory Coast, where they really should have had a second in this game.
Great opportunity once again. Amad Diallo doesn't overplay his hand, cuts inside and just lays it to Christian now, who's a little bit, the ball's a little bit behind him, just half a yard further forward. It's a slightly easier chance. Still goes down as a chance nonetheless. I mean, he's not going to be he's not going to be playing in Turkish football for much longer, from what I've seen in this game so far. Once again, he was the one who started that move, dribbled past a couple of German players as if they weren't there on the halfway line. Lovely balance.
Pavlovic, who had a goal ruled out in the first half, brings the ball forward, central, out to Zane on the far right-hand side for Germany. I'll run you through the 2 teams in a moment. Here's Wirtz on the edge of the D, trying to chip it through delicately. You'd have seen that in the US Open golf at Shinnecock Hills, maybe. A little chip from the fairway by Florian Wirtz to Sane on the return, but it didn't come off for Germany. Now Havertz slides it into the penalty area right-hand side. Bodies back for the Ivory Coast, able to get the interception away up towards the halfway line.
Yeah, once again, good defending from Ivory Coast. Can't hardly think of a moment in the game where one of their players has been beaten and there's not been another orange shirt to get to that ball pretty quickly, snuffing out any opportunity.
Mecha tries to cross in on the turn from the right-hand side first time. That's also blocked, so it bounces back towards Leroy Zane, Musiala, Pavlovic. Again to Zane, the former Manchester City man now of Galatasaray, right-hand side. Cross comes in over Havertz, it's deep. Wirtz will knock it back into Havertz, who tries to flick the ball behind him on his right boot, the back heel to tee himself up, but it runs through to Fofana, who clutches low down.
Nice set back from Florian Wirtz. Lovely one-touch pass inside the box with his left foot, just squared it to Kai Havertz, who was under pressure, just wasn't quite able to control it, then set himself with a turn and shot for goal.
So 8 minutes into the second half, Germany still trailing. Germany with Neuer in goal, Kimmich, Tar, and now Rudiger at the back with the replacement for Schlotterbeck at half-time. Mecha, Musiala, Pavlovic and Brown in midfield. Zane and Wirtz either side of Havertz, and that's interchanged at times during the first half as well. Ivory Coast team that come in a moment. Ahmad has it on the edge of the defensive third, near side the right for the Ivory Coast. Plays it to Singo of now Galatasaray. Tall right back with Syriat and League One experience, but not scared to venture forward. He's had a shot in this game as well on the volley that was crashed into some German defenders. Ahmad just trying to get away from Brown. Good pace between the pair of these. Ahmad turns by the touchline, plays it into the box. Kessie can't get the shot away. Good recovering from Antonio Rudiger. Just steps in front of his man before the trigger's pulled, and behind for a corner it goes.
Huge challenge. Once again, lovely footwork on this near side from Amad Diallo. He nearly skips past Nathaniel Brown. He gets checked back. Good cover from him. Look at that for the pass. Seen on the replay again, just fires the ball into Franck Kessie. That first touch just gets away from him, so important. I mean, who else? Mecha comes across. He's the one who really puts off Franck Kessie, who once again loses his footing, and then there's Rudiger just to help support.
I tell you what, it's got to be a concern how many times Kessie's making space in the penalty area and Germany aren't picking him up. They're arriving late to the scene as Diamande just pulls down Pavlovic as the ball runs towards the touchline. Pavlovic used his body well, invited Diomande to make the foul. He's part of the Ivory Coast side that looks like this. Fofana's in goal. Singo, Kasunu, Agbadou, Conan at the back. Here is Singo on the ball now. Gives it to Ahmad just outside the right corner of the penalty area. In out Sangare and Kessie, the goal scorer, the captain. And the only man who might miss match day 3 if he's booked on the pitch so far. Ahmad, Bonny and Yan Diomande up front for Amos Faye's side, the Ivory Coast manager, who came into the job midway through AFCON 2023 when they won it. Mid-tournament sacking of Jean-Louis Gasset. Initially, Ivory Coast wanted Hervé Renard, who's now the Tunisian manager. Ball from the left-hand side, runs across the 6-yard box, evades everyone in an orange shirt, comes back to Singo on the right-hand side. Musiala, back to Ahmad, rather in out. Now Ahmad, Singo, 2 yards in from the touchline. It's a little bit more relaxed from Ivory Coast. They're not worrying about the penalty area for now, but Sangare's allowed to venture forward, 20 yards from goal. Ahmad back through to Sangare on the angle. It will come to Yan Diomande, right foot volley, edge of the 18-yard box, and it's swiped wide of the left post.
Super player lost count of the number of passes that the Ivorians kept the ball. Eventually find their way to the edge of the box. Yeah, it just runs out of room a little bit. And then the ball just bounces back to younger Yan Diomande on the edge of the box, snatched out that shot, bobbled into the ground and well wide of the post.
Little glance down at the floor from Amos Faye, the Ivorian manager, who, as I was saying, wasn't initially the first choice for the role. They wanted Hervé Renard, who was at the time the French women's manager. Now, of course, appointed by Tunisia, who sacked their manager after match day 1 and that heavy defeat to Sweden. Tunisia in action tonight when they face Japan. Again, you can hear from 5 o'clock in the morning here on BBC Radio 5 Live. One of 4 games across the day.
Sorry, Mike, everybody usually wants Hervé Renard when there's been a sacking on the continent. Ended up in Saudi Arabia, didn't he? Now he's got himself another gig. I think he was...
It's Tunisia now. Long-range shot from Germany over the bar.
The Ghanaians wanted him as well before they appointed Carlos Queiroz as well. Always a man in demand.
Germany here are readying another couple of changes. I can see Nadim Amiri is one of the 2 ready to come on. In fact, it'll be one of a triple change for Germany.
So
Dennis Undav is preparing to come on too. Tar wrestles for the ball, but he did have his shirt pulled by Onge Johan Bonny, the number 9 of the Ivory Coast. Looks like Jamie Leveling is about to come on too for Nagelsmann. He's left that instructions to his assistants as he watches the play from the halfway line.
There's a reason why Germany have not been able to get much going in front of that Ivorian back line in terms of, their number 10s, and they've really got 2 on the pitch, haven't they? Wirtz, who's been playing a vast majority of the game on the left side, and Kai Havertz, who loves to drop that little bit deeper, doesn't always give the team the focal point through the middle that you would like. It's because there's a lack of trust, isn't there? What I mean by that is not allowing one of those wide players, either Wirtz or Sané, just to be a little bit less involved with that defensive work. Hug this touchline, receive the ball, not all the time, it just draws in 1 or 2, or draws an Ivorian player towards that flank.
Here is Zane up against Conan, far side of the field. Just gets towards the edge of the penalty area and backtracks a little. Conan had his number, dinked in by Kimmich, up by Singo on the header that loops to the near side of the penalty area for Wirtz. He's powered that in towards Musiala. In comes Ahmad, little touch from him. It's behind for a corner. And he's taken quickly. And Musiala darts in from the byline. Wirtz played him in, but again, Ahmad was across.
Not threatening the Ivorian goal, have they, so far in the second half, Germany?
No, it's been quiet. Almost a quarter of an hour into the second half. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. Kimmich, hands on hips, feet planted on the floor, now raises a right arm in the air. In-swinging delivery from this near side. Easy claim for Fofana. Tar was racing in, he took a tumble. And Tar has remained down. Rather, Havertz has remained down in the penalty area here. We'll get another look at it on the replay. He's claiming an elbow to the side of his neck from the challenge of Ibrahim Sangare. I think he's making the most of that.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
So Leroy Sané is the first of 3 players for Germany to go off, as is Musiala and Pavlovic too, as part of that triple change. Been a battling season from injury for Musiala, so it may be that minutes are managed here, but fresh legs on, including that of Jamie Leveling, Stuttgart player, now gets his 6th cap, involved in the squad really due to the injury of Serge Gnabry. Amiri is also on, the Mainz man. His 12 goals helped steer Mainz clear of the relegation zone in the Bundesliga. And I wait to get confirmation of the 3rd substitute in a moment. Dennis Undavon, of course, sorry. The large-framed figure of Germany has caused Julian Nagelsmann some problems in the press for Nagelsmann's comments and complimentary comments. But 2 against Curaçao. And he's now tasked with trying to become the hero yet again against the Ivory Coast, because Germany are trailing by a goal to nil. Here is Wirtz. Brown back to Wirtz. Player down in the middle of the park here. Singo on the floor for Ivory Coast as the Germany attack continues on the edge of the penalty area. Rising shot from Leveling. It's got to be better than that from Leveling.
Yeah, asking a lot of himself, wasn't it? His first couple of touches to set himself and shoot. Ivorians wanted a foul. I'm not sure who they felt was impeded. Too far outside the box.
Singo, I think, for when he went down, is it? He was just caught by Dennis Undav on his left arm.
Yeah, the referee's missed that, hasn't he?
So the foul not given. Of course, Germany missing Leonard Karl in this tournament. Picked up a thigh injury just before the final warm-up game against the United States. Hugely talented Bayern Munich player, only 18 years of age. He's got creativity. They won't be able to call on that in that World Cup. And that's allowed Hassan Ouedraogo to be part of the German side. The Red Bull Leipzig player, but he's not one of the 4 that Julian Nagelsmann has called on so far. 62 minutes played here in Toronto. Half the pitch in shade, half the pitch baked in sunshine. Early 20s temperature-wise in Canada. Here's Leveling. Will have support outside of him. Leveling might choose to go alone as Havertz tries to steal in front of his man. Ball runs away to another spare defender of the Ivory Coast, and they're able to get it up towards the halfway line. Here's Kimmich, slides the ball out towards the right-hand side. Cross will come in from Amiri towards the back post, where Undav was waiting for it to drop. Singo got there first, heads it behind for a corner.
Good header, kept his concentration. Those swinging balls with lots of height when they're coming right across the other side of the field. Never easy to deal with, especially when it's coming out of the sunlight into the shade or vice versa. And just helped it behind, knowing that there's a German play behind him. Just got the feeling, Mike, that the game is about to get a little bit more end-to-end again. Germany just starting to dominate proceedings.
Huge golden FIFA behind the goal towards our right-hand side, with the sun glimmering off it. But it's at the other end where Germany have this corner. Near side corner swung in right on top of Fofana, who came and didn't get there. The header at the back post. Wide from Havertz. It seemed like a chance baying for Germany to get the equaliser. Fofana made the call to come off his line. I'm trying to work out whether the referee's given goal kick here or free kick here.
Well,
Fofana came, flapped a hand, didn't get there. Havertz header wide.
Absolutely flapped. Was that comment that Amos Fire made about being the best goalkeeper in Africa? Not on this performance today.
Nice. His save in the first half was great from the header of Havertz, but that one was a little bit lost in his own 6-yard box, wasn't he?
Look, Yasin Bono is one of the top goalkeepers. Roman Williams of South Africa. Give me a few minutes, I could probably name about another 3 or 4 who I could put ahead of Fofana.
Maybe it was MSV just trying to pick up his goalkeeper, give him a bit of confidence.
That's fair enough.
Stood in his long sleeve, thin cotton t-shirt is MSV. He was out well early ahead of the second half. He was out before his team sat in the dugout, arms folded, waiting as they were for Frank Kessie, the captain, to lead them out for the second half. Germany in possession, player down just outside the centre circle in the form of Amiri. He'll have to get back to his feet here. They'll want him in the box. Germany coming forward here. Leveling from the left-hand side, nutmeg Singo. The ball, though, is easily able to run for a stop from Yaya Fofana. And that will be An easy take for the goalkeeper. Amiri just getting back to his feet, hobbling around a little bit. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1.
Caught his knee in the middle of the park on Ibrahim Sangare. That'd be painful. Take a minute or two to rub that off. Lebelling just needs to take a couple of nice simple touches. He's only just arrived on the field, trying to do a little bit too much as a sub. I understand you're a little bit desperate to try and make an impression. Just play yourself into the match in the next few minutes.
So pleased was he that he got the number 9 jersey for Germany. He changed his Instagram profile picture to a photoshopped image of his face with Ronaldo's haircut from 2002. Do you remember the little semicircle on the top of his forehead?
How could you forget?
So R9 maybe will turn into J9 one day, but he needs a better look at goal than the ones he's had so far. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. 20 minutes gone in the second half on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds this evening. US Open follows us at 11 o'clock from Shinnecock Hills. The final day, Wyndham Clark was the overnight leader. Matt Fitzpatrick in contention as well. Here's Brown central, the left back coming in field there. His angled pass towards the edge of the D, cut out on the deflection. Another Germany corner. 7 in this game they've had.
Yeah, and if you are Julian Nagelsmann, you'll be looking to get your play just to swing the ball in once again around about that 6-yard box. Got a flapping goalkeeper, let's put him under more pressure. And you know, well, sometimes just actually don't challenge for the ball, allow his own teammates to get in the goalkeeper's way, and perhaps you can pick up the pieces. Rudiger's never shy of a challenge inside any box. Let's see what kind of havoc he can cause.
Yeah, well, Rudiger's battling at the back post, isn't he? Kimmich, corner near side, in-swinging delivery, right-footed. Fofana this time flying away from his goal line, double-fisted punch as he goes to the ground. He's now claiming he's fouled, and referee's agreed with him.
Ridiculous. Referee's taken 5 seconds to decide or to come to the conclusion that was a foul. Never was. If anything, I think he probably perhaps just barged into his own player. And he's gone to ground. He's rolled over 3-4 times. He's had a look at the referee. And he's rolling over again. Yeah, and again.
Yeah, he's on his back. Medics aren't on to treat Fofana here. He was diving away off his goal line, double-fisted, good punch away. I mean, does he even collide with... If it's anything, it's his own teammate Kasunu, but it's not even that powerful. And it's...
time wasting.
Yeah, stoppage in play, but no instructions to be given to the players. Ahmad's come over to this near side for a quick refreshment, grabs the water bottle. Referee will keep an eye on that, as will his assistants. Germany 0, Ivory Coast 1. Germany in their 21st World Cup. More appearances than any other European nation. They'll back home be dreaming of lifting the tournament as they did in 2014, but so far, as it stands, that big win over Curacao is going to be marred by defeat to Ivory Coast, who themselves are looking to get out of the groups for the first time, and 3 points today will give them that opportunity.
They've got to find a way, Mike, to actually stop these tactical stoppages by goalkeepers.
Cross comes in, and there is Undav! That's what he's brought on for! Cross on the right-hand side, and Dennis Undav off the bench scores again, left foot volley into the roof of the net. And Germany have their saviour, the unlikely figure. The bench goes wild, and Germany are level. It's 1-1.
That's a great finish. Superb ball from the substitute Amiri. Yeah, he's just loitering on that far side. It's a cracking ball over the head of the Ivorian defence. The first time that any German player's been completely freed. There's Undav with the instincts of a striker. Volleys it from, 6 yards out, right on the 60 edge of the 6-yard box, past the goalkeeper. Perhaps a little bit too much pace on it for Fofana to actually come out and try and punch that one away or catch it. There's the reply they're looking for. And sometimes, Mike, you actually get punished for some stupid play, and the goalkeeper's got no need to actually go down, roll around about 5 or 6 times and just anger, the German fans and the German players. And in a way, they'd be punished for that. Give credit to Germany. Superbly crafted goal.
7 goals in 9 games for Germany. Now for Dennis Undav. Scored and got 2 assists in the win over Curacao. A man that the manager, Julian Nagelsmann's had to apologise for in the past. When he scored a winner against Ghana, Nagelsmann said he can't start Dennis Undav because he doesn't have the energy. He later apologised. He might be thanking him in a moment. Havertz Purists in the penalty area. Oh, the ball all over the place for the Ivory Coast here. Fofana manages to prevent it going out for a corner off the deflection of Kasunu. It's a little nervy now for the Ivory Coast. They've had to soak up a lot of German pressure in the last 5-10 minutes. Germany have made them pay with getting the equaliser. Things just need to calm down here for the Ivorians.
Yeah, just as a test of their mental resolve now, whether they've got the composure to be able just to settle things down, continue to play their football when they can, don't panic. Germany will now feel as if you know, they're in charge of the game.
Germany 1, Ivory Coast 1. Germany looking for an unbeaten start. They both won their opening games. Germany convincingly over Curaçao. It was late from Ahmad against Ecuador, as Germany play a low ball towards the edge of the penalty area once again. Germany in white from right to left in this second 45 minutes. Ahmad's 90th minute winner was the latest winning goal by a sub since Francesco Totti for Italy against Australia in the 2006 World Cup that was held in Germany. Ahmad looking to become the second player to score in consecutive games in the World Cup for the Ivorians since Gervinho in 2014. Dennis Undav, of course, at the other end once more for Germany. And he's just hanging around in the D with the ball midway inside the Ivory Coast half. Tar finds Rudiger, lifted up right-hand side. They're looking for Undav in the 6-yard box this time. It's volleyed away, smashed away. This is one-way traffic at the moment.
Yeah, this way you need your forward players, your wide players to be able to control, just as Jan Diomande actually steals the ball from Joshua Kimmich on that far side. And those guys to be able to take the pressure off you by controlling and just being able to drive upfield and just take the sting out of the German attack. And if those players are not able to do it, the two wide players in the forward, then it's time for MS5 to think about fresh legs to bring a little bit, or give a little bit more spark to the forward line. That will help the midfield and the defence immediately.
So the cameras pan in on Dennis Undav, the short shaved hair of Dennis Undav, head bowed as he makes his way to this near side. The hydration break called. There's a dance camp for the fans who are waving their arms up in the air, some taking big sips of beer as the camera pans on them. The cubed screens in the corner, each corner of this ground in Toronto. 2 tiers on most sides, temporary stand at one end to increase the capacity. Red seats, not very much visible. Plenty of white shirts, plenty of German support here. A pocket of orange interspersed amongst the white behind the goal to our right-hand side. Germany 1, Ivory Coast 1. We have drama in this game. There'll be 18 minutes left or so as it stands. Plenty added on as well. Dennis Undav getting Germany level after the Ivory Coast led at the break. It is a fantastic game. It is everything we hoped it would be. Germany 1, Ivory Coast 1. Dramatic here. Any early drama of the day at Shinnecock Hills in the US Open Golf, James Gregg?
Well, I tell you what, yes, because there are now only 6 golfers under par, and one of them was Rory McIlroy. He's just had 3 bogeys in the space of 5 holes, so he's now at 1 over par, which is 8 adrift of overnight leader Wyndham Clark, who's just chugging along nicely at 7 under. His nearest challenger is another American called Sam Stevens. He's at 4 under par. He's playing the 9th as we speak. But the world #1, Scotty Scheffler, chipped in from miles away on the 14th and then birdied the 15th. He's now 1 under par. Write Scheffler off at your peril. He's now just 6 back, but looking good to post a nice 3-round total.
Commentary with James and the team available on Sports Extra 3. MS Faye, I think, has taken a little toilet break. The Ivorian manager emerges from the tunnel again. Black jeans on, bright white shoes on his feet for the smartly dressed Ivorian manager. Commentary also on 5 Live from 11 o'clock tonight from the US Open with Ian Carter and the team from Shinnecock Hills in New York. Football-wise, from 1 o'clock, Kansas hosts the next game at the World Cup. 1 o'clock in the morning, Ecuador against Curaçao. And then from 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, Maz Faruqi, Andy Reid on duty for Tunisia against Japan. Changes coming here for the Ivory Coast, I think, in a moment. The 4th officials board is just being readied. We'll keep an eye out on who that might be in a second. Germany 1, Ivory Coast 1. If there were instructions at the hydration break, 74 minutes on the clock. Effen For Germany, I imagine Nagelsmann is saying try and rebuild that momentum you had before the break. For Ivory Coast, I think this break's come at the right time.
Absolutely. Just a few words of wisdom from the coaching staff, and no surprise he's making those changes. And I thought one of the forward players would be leaving, and it is the front man, and Johan Bonny, Simon Adingra's on, and the man who I would have thought would have been absolutely essential, Seko Fofana. Give them some extra legs and dynamic movements as well in the middle of the park. He will just give them a little bit more strength, freshness especially.
Ivory Coast, after the break in the first half, capitalised and scored not long after the stoppage. Can they do the same here? 1-1 with Germany. Confirmation that it's Bonny, Diallo and Sangare that have departed. Evan Gessan of Crystal Palace is on. Seko Fofana of Porto is on. And as is Simon Adingra, who earlier today will have watched his Sunderland teammate Brian Brobby score 2 goals as the Netherlands put 5 past Sweden. Cody Gakpo of Liverpool got 2, Somerville of West Ham another, Anthony Elanga got 1 back for Sweden, but by then it was 4-0 and all out anyway, and counted for little. So Sweden, who won their first group stage game 5-1, now lost 5-1. That's a quick way to lose all your goal difference, isn't it, that you built up in the tournament. Ivory Coast scored 1 in their first. Germany scored 7. Much closer and much harder work for the Germans in this game as Mecha steals the ball midway inside his own half. Plays it out towards the right-hand touchline. Germany in white shirts with the V-shaped German flag across the chest from right to left. Black shorts, white socks. Ivory Coast all in orange. The Elephants from left to right with 14 minutes left of normal time in this game. Fofana, risky a couple of times in this match, sends it long out towards the right-hand side. Singo heads it out for a German throw on this near side touchline.
Yeah, let's see what happens after this hydration break, which team is able to get the impetus, if any at all.
Germany have 1 substitute left. Julian Nagelsmann admit that he doesn't have the depth at his disposal that perhaps other big nations have, but claims he has faith in his side. Well, it's a substitute from the bench that's got them level, and now Wiertz tries to break away down the middle, claims he's foul, holds his left shin. Referee, the Paraguayan Juan Benitez, was a basketball player in his younger days, and he's just watched that roll by and has not even given Florian Wiertz a second look. 13 minutes left, 1-1. I have to say this has been one of the most enjoyable games at the World Cup so far. The tactics, the chances, and of course 2 goals to go with it as well. Rudiger finds Jonathan Tah, German mother, Ivorian father, but he's playing and has his allegiances with Germany. Wiertz on the left-hand side, steps in field. Jan Diamande now on the right was with him. He's on the right because Ahmad's now departed. Strength from either wing for the Ivory Coast. Diamande pushed through on the right-hand side as well. Has space, has to slow it up. Needs support to come from the likes of Evan Gessan. Diamande with the ball close to his feet. Swept across by Inau, all the way out towards that far side, the left. This is Agbadou. Conan slows down now for the Ivory Coast, who are happy just to connect the passes between themselves. 1-1 the score with 12 minutes to go. Here's Singo, short pass in field.
Adingra with fresh legs on that right side. He's a guy who runs as well without the football as he does with. That will give the German backline something to think about. If Joshua Kimmich thought it was going to be a steady end to this match, he's got another thing to think about.
A reminder that the golf is on Sports Extra now from day 3 of the US Open. Wyndham Clark, the overnight leader. So you can listen to commentary of that. They'll be also joining us on 5 Live Sport from 11 o'clock before Ecuador against Curacao, which is the other game in this group. Match day 3 for these 2 sides. Germany will face Ecuador. The Ivory Coast, who've never got out of the group stage, will fancy their chances against Curacao.
Not had a booking, have we? Mecha just fouled Inau. They've been 2 of the better plays in this game so far. Youngsters done exceptionally well in the middle of the park for Ivory Coast.
There are 2 players at risk of missing match day 3 against Curacao out there for the Ivory Coast. Frank Kessie and Seiko Fofana. Here is Singo on the right-hand side. Didn't think about the cross around Brown. Well, that's a poor touch by Germany. They get away with it. Purists was back there doing some defending, nearly cost his team as Havertz goes for a sprint. Singo eating up the yards, wins the ball back on this near side touchline, and now holds it, the ball dead on the white paint on this near side. He tries to, he's just clutched his left leg, hasn't he? Yeah, and he's down on the floor. He's come onto the pitch, and that's frustrated the Germans. But Singo, in battling, as he tried to turn a pace to get back towards the halfway line, felt the left hamstring go. Julian Nagelsmann is furious that Singo has gone back onto the pitch. He could have easily walked one way over the line and be treated by the medical staff. Nagelsmann slams the ball, the spare ball, down on the floor in frustration. He's gone back to his bench.
Did he really leave the pitch, to be honest? I think he had one foot on the pitch all the time. And
I think he did, but I think the argument is he could have gone the other side and play could have continued. That's what Germany are annoyed about there.
But players don't do that anymore, I'm afraid.
It just slows it down. It works in Ivory Coast's
He steps
favour.
off the pitch, you're right, Mike. Yeah, he steps off the pitch and then he steps back on. And I suppose, technically, he shouldn't have been allowed back on, but not quite so strict. He's off the field still, isn't he? Yeah.
Missed the most recent AFCON through injury, did Singo, back for the World Cup. He's off for the minute. And now Germany come forward. Oh, the ball's hit the referee. Wirtz's cross was deflected into the path of the referee, and he says that will be a drop ball, I think, in the Germans' favour, won't it? It was their possession.
It was their possession, yeah. We'll go to them. And
the multicoloured ball that we have at this World Cup, looping round the sphere, red, blue and green swirls. Joe Hart has done a piece about how the ball is sometimes causing problems to the goalkeeper.
Our goalkeepers are always complaining.
It was 2010, wasn't it, when we had the roundest ball ever? I think that was the definition. Quite how a round ball becomes even rounder, I'm not sure.
Complained about the Jabulani ball. They complained about when it went from pigskin to what we have now. All sorts.
Evan Gessan emerges with the ball midway inside the German half, feeds it to Jan Diamande on the right-hand side.
Pig's bladder, wasn't it? Whenever it was. It used to make them out many years ago.
Doué is about to come on. Gaël Doué for the Ivory Coast, brother of Desiré Doué. Those two could meet in the World Cup later on as well. Gaël is the elder brother of Desiré, qualifying to play for the Ivory Coast through his father. He's onto the field and has unsurprisingly replaced the now injured Wilfried Singo. Ivory Coast will hope that hamstring strain isn't too damaging, but the pictures of him in the dugout, he's pulled his shirt over his face, he looks upset, he's probably in tears. That to me suggests that's a World Cup ender.
Yeah, that'll be a terrible blow.
He has proven problematic in this game for Germany. I'll be glad to see the back of him. So on comes Gaël Doué, versatile defender. He can play at centre-back, but he'll be tasked at the right-back position. His uncle was the first Ivorian to ref at the World Cup back in USA '94. Now he gets his chance as a player in the three hosted tournament. Cross comes in from the left-hand side. Gessan trying to get in position. Did Tar get there first? Referee has said...
He did, yeah. Great play.
Corner, yeah.
Gislan Kone, who just went around the outside of the German defence and whipped the ball in nicely early. Yeah, that says that's potentially a tournament-ending injury for...
Yeah,
Wilfried Singo.
Got his hands over his eyes. He's really upset, Wilfried Singo. The 25-year-old Galatasaray player slumped down in his chair in the dugout. That's a heartbreaking moment on the world stage. They want to play in this tournament as in comes the corner. Skips along, or awkward angled header. Kept alive, though. Germany haven't dealt with that necessarily. Runs to Doué, who can't play a meaningful ball. Germany trying to get on the counter-attack. Stopped by the Ivory Coast, who can look forward again, though. Fofana, Seiko Fofana, out towards the left-hand side. Little dancing feet, comes back to Fofana. On the turn, gets the shot. Closed quickly down by Nathaniel Brown, and had to be. Looked like it was going to curl in towards Manuel Neuer's goal. Then we'd have seen the agility of the 40-year-old. Pounced on by the Ivory Coast. Gessan, edge of the penalty area. Runs out, Tar steps across. Throw into the Ivorians on this near side.
Ivory Coast have more than recovered their composure, Mike. They've actually now started, to dominate the game the last 5 or so minutes. Good signs. Not being overly rattled by the goal. Reasserted a little bit of authority they had. the moment we kicked off for the second half.
Diamande is coming off. He takes off his black headband that's been holding those short dreadlocks up in place for any runs he makes down the line. He puts his hands on his hips, told to go off at the nearest exit by the referee, and Nicolas Pepe is coming on. Villarreal man, formerly of Arsenal, scored the goal to beat Scotland in one of the warm-ups, and Germany are taking off Kai Havertz and bringing on Leon Goretzka, who is leaving Bayern Munich in the summer, it would seem. Big important player for the national side. He brings a lot of balance. They need a goal, 1-1, with 5 minutes to go on BBC Radio 5 Live. So the change is made.
They certainly love one, Mike, but I don't think either side needs to force the issue now. This would be another point, 4 points going into their final games. Still both fancy themselves to get one more point at least, especially Ivory Coast. And Germany won't have it easy against Ecuador, irrespective of what happens in the last few minutes here. But if they were to lose that game, they'd be very disappointed. Nothing that I've seen from Ecuador so far. Only one game played just says that they'll be too much of a threat.
Long-range shot, patted down inside the 6-yard box by Yaya Fofana. It was Dennis Undav fancying his chances again.
Well hit. It was long way out, wasn't he, Dennis Undav, buoyed by a couple of goals already in this tournament. Some 25 or so yards out, but straight down the throat of the goalkeeper.
So it remains 1-1 with 4 minutes to go of normal time. There'll be a considerable amount of added time, I imagine, as well. We had 7 at the end of the first half. It won't be too dissimilar in the second half. Commentary to come from the US Open. It's over on Sports Extra right now for you. Ecuador against Curacao to follow, Tunisia against Japan tomorrow, Spain against Saudi Arabia, Belgium against Iran, Uruguay, Cape Verde, New Zealand against Egypt, all coming up on BBC Radio 5 Live. Colin Murray's with you from 10 o'clock, where John Barnes is his guest. From 12 o'clock, Katie Smith presenting as we bring you commentary of the final of Queens. Tommy Paul takes on Argentina's Cerundolo. And of course, Sports Extra tomorrow morning as the 5th day of the test match between England and New Zealand. England need 281 in their second innings. It's a long task ahead. Joe Root performing well into the 70s in his innings. As Fofana step-overs up against Rudiger, slides it back to the edge of the D from the left-hand side, but can't quite find Frank Kessie, who's already produced one big moment for the Ivory Coast. Was looking for a second. Foul given in Germany's favour.
Yeah, Gesson thought he'd robbed Mecha on the edge of the box. Oh, I think he had, actually. Too much contact, but the referee didn't see it that way.
Long ball forward. Stopped by 117 from getting to another. As Doué got in the way before Wiertz could bring it down out of the sky. Shade now covers the entire pitch here at Toronto. Brown from the left-hand side crosses it in. Needs a player to get back there and see it away. I think it's Fofana, wasn't it? Lovely little sidestep, though, from Pepe, who's off down the right-hand side here. Gessan trying to race with him. Player screaming for it at the back. They found him in space as well. It's a steadying touch. He showed too much to the defender.
Awful touch. Oh, you got to hit that first time. Superb play by Nicolas Pepe, streaming down his right-hand side. Used the dummy run of Evan Gesson heading towards that near post and just sent it to the other side of the box. I think we just got to side foot that one past the goalkeeper. Just got to get your shot off on target. As soon as he took that touch, he was in trouble, and it wasn't a good one. Closed down.
So much space. The work of Pepe, brilliant, all undone by his teammate Simon Adingra, and the option to take the first touch. The Sunderland man, named in the tournament of the team of the tournament from AFCON 2023, Simon Adingra. All the Ivorian subs were on their feet on the touchline, ready to explode, thinking Adingra might become a hero. Touch back. Oh, Brown with a swiping shot, arriving in the penalty area. Virch tried to tee him up on the left-hand side of the box. Brown with a first-time hit. That's what Adingra should have done, and it's pushed away and out for a throw-in on the far side.
Well, that's the best touch of the game from Florian Wirtz. Superbly weighted with his left foot, the weaker side, cushioned back superbly. And he really did hit it, Brown, didn't he? He was just moving away from the goalkeeper, who made a smart save. Great football all round.
Fofana back showing his credentials again.
Yeah, just heading towards that far corner. Goalkeeper went down to his left, nice strong hand. Sent it just a couple of yards wide of his post, and then teammates did the rest to clean things up.
Final minute of normal time, 1-1. Long Germany throw from the far side, the right, into the penalty area. Volleyed away by Inau, clip round the corner. Here's Gessan, he'll turn it around as well. And guess what? Ivory Coast are off on the break again with severe pace. They're looking for Nicolas Pepe down the middle. They feed it between Brown and Tah, the two Germany defenders, and they allow it to run through to Manuel Neuer.
Fofana just had to keep on travelling with the ball. Not sure why he played it. Two German defenders backpedaling. And take that another 10 yards before he needs to deliver the pass. Or
Leveling low cross in too close to Fofana. I'll tell you what, both teams don't need to win this, but they're going for it.
They're certainly trying for it. But the goalkeeper's getting some boos, certainly by the German fans. Just seeing the replay of that shot again. That's a great hit, isn't it, from Nathaniel Brown? It's a good save. Superb technique all round. Let's get another shot, view of the run from Nicolas Pepe. Past Jonathan Tah easily. They can't recover. Rudiger comes across. Evan Gusson with a great run to take players away. I think we've just got to hit that. Got to hit that first time. Understand he doesn't allow the ball to run across his body, hitting it with his left. He's completely right-footed, but got to take a better touch if he doesn't hit it first time.
Germany forward, left of the D, Undab. Oh, he squared it. This is a chance for Amiri, trying to roll it in. Straight down the middle of the goal. He didn't get the angle he wanted in. Fofana makes the save. We're into 6 minutes of stoppage time, and both sides trying to win it. Germany looking strong.
End-to-end, Mike. Great game of football. This second half, I thought perhaps could just peter out in the last 10 or so minutes. Absolutely not being the case. Emery's got to put his foot through that ball. And if he doesn't and he goes for the side for which he does, then you've got to try and find a corner.
Feel that both sides are going to get one more chance in added time. And it's a question of who can take it. BBC Radio 5 Live, World Cup 2026. Germany 1, Ivory Coast 1. Win for the Netherlands earlier today, 5-1. Ecuador, Curacao, Tunisia, Japan that come to round off day 9 of the World Cup. Germany come forward. Here's Mecha. He's been bright in the middle of the field for Germany today. He's won important balls, he's played important passes, he's won a few tackles and intercepted and read the game well. Kimmich swings it in too close to Fofana, who clutches at stomach level.
Mecha's been their best player. He's done his fair share in terms of supporting the attacking plays, but in terms of ball stealing and awareness, recovering when teammates got out of position, he's been a star man for Germany.
Yeah, Joshua Kimmich, the Germany captain, describes him as one of the most talented players in the squad. He's lived up to that today, the former Manchester City academy player. Throw into the Ivory Coast on this near side, 10 yards inside the German half.
He's a big guy as well, good physical presence, gets around the field. And to receive the ball as well, find teammates. Nothing flashy about his game, just solid in every department.
Nagelsmann issuing instructions, holding out a right hand on the edge of his technical area. Ball bounces awkwardly. Who's going to seize control of it? Kasunu does for the Ivory Coast, but referee has pulled it back for a free kick here to Germany, with Nathaniel Brown just getting back on his haunches. Germany 1, Ivory Coast 1. 4 minutes of added time still to go here.
I'd be shutting up shop if I were MS5. Said, you know what, a point against Germany is a great result. Julian Nagelsmann will probably be feeling, you know, we are the more vaunted side on paper. We should be going and trying to make sure we get the extra 2 points in offer. But I think we've got to accept this is a very good Ivorian side. You've not been on top for large parts of the game. You're not creating more chances than they have done. The point is not a bad result. We play Ecuador in our final game. And absolutely, we'll be thinking that we'll get absolute minimum point there, and we progress to the knockout phase without too much in terms of drama.
Ivory Coast boss Emma's Face said they had the potential to do something exceptional. They'll approach every match with the ambition to win. They did so. They took the lead against Germany. But it was pulled back in the second half by substitute Dennis Undab's close-range volley from across on the right. But here come Germany again, trying to find Undab. Brown trying to feed him in on the edge of the penalty area. Ivory Coast have got it away for now. Tah on the edge of the centre circle to the left-hand side of it. To Florian Wirtz, who just stalls the ball under his pink right boot. Back to Jonathan Tah. And then a ball down the middle from Mecha. Oh, they've won it! Dennis Undab, in stoppage time, takes 3 points from Germany right under the feet of the Ivory Coast. Ball down the middle. Undab on the turn in the box. And right-footed, fires it low past Fofana. And There's huge celebrations behind the goal to our left-hand side as he's mobbed by his teammates. The Ivory Coast look dumbstruck. They can't believe it. They nearly held off the 2014 World Champions, but in stoppage time, super sub Dennis Undav does it for Germany, and it's Germany 2, Ivory Coast 1.
Well, it's a great finish, you have to admit. Superb play. What about the ball from Imechi in the middle of the park? So he fired that in from some 25 yards, from 15 yards outside the box into Undav, who kills it with one touch with his right foot. On the half turn, he turns and hits it immediately with the left. They're the instincts and the positioning of a striker. And Yaya Fofana's got no chance, but the gap in the middle of the park, you cannot do that. The final minutes of the game, you've got to close the game down. If you're not able to close down the Metro who fires the ball, you've got to make sure that you are touch tight. Do not allow Undav to turn control. It's a great finish. Germany have stolen it right at the end.
Adingra clutches his shirt over his head. He knows his chance at the other end could have had that explosion of emotion that we've just seen from Germany for the Ivory Coast, but it wasn't. And Dennis Undav picks up the shoulders of his shirt and shows his name to the cameras. It is Conan on the far side of the penalty area who's playing him on by a good yard or so.
Clearly onside.
And Undav turns left-footed, plays it past the right boot of Fofana, who's diving ever so slightly to his other side. And down the middle of the goal, Dennis Undav, 90+4, sparks wild celebrations in the Germany fans and amongst the benches too. Nagelsmann was mobbed by his coaching staff. Big moment for Germany in this World Cup. It's going to put them into the knockout stages. Ivory Coast will have to do it against Curacao on the final day of this group. But what a game, and we thought it would be, and these two have given us an excellent 90 minutes.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda. What they didn't do in the last few minutes to try and take the sting out of the game, to nullify Germany. Say, if you're going to do something, then it's got to be absolutely special. It's a great finish, but the amount of space he was given just inside the box, really, at this level, is absolutely criminal. You're made to pay when they've had chances themselves. Adingra missed a great one. Amiri had a chance. He could have put Germany 2-1 up a few minutes earlier.
Germany bench waiting for the whistle. 6 minutes of added time shown, but they didn't half take their time on the celebrations. So I think there'll be a little bit more added on. We're closer to 7 minutes now of stoppage time. Germany 2, Ivory Coast 1. Arguably one of the games of the World Cup so far.
Decision to make, doesn't he, for the final game? Julian Nagelsmann, does he start Dennis Undav? You'd have to drop one of his big names, wouldn't he, in that front line.
Well, that would perhaps be the biggest apology of all from Dennis Undav as Fofana sends the ball long. Huge scream of emotion from Julian Nagelsmann. A man under pressure in the Germany job. His side, his substitute, has won the game with 2 goals. Dennis Undav has come off the bench and in stoppage time won this game for Germany. Ivory Coast with a lot of credit. They gave Germany a real run for their money. Frank Kessie in the first half had them in the lead, but Dennis Undav, few minutes after coming on, levels it up with a close-range volley on a cross, and then played down the middle, split the centre-backs, turned and fired it low past Fofana for the winner in the 94th minute. It is Germany who are guaranteed a place in the round of 32. Seaman Adingra collapses on the floor, the Ivory Coast substitute, who had a big chance himself to put the Ivory Coast in front. He knows a big moment has gone his way. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, as it was said in the game. Effen Okoku said that explicitly, and Ivory Coast might regret that. For them, it goes to the final day and the match round when they take on Curacao. Germany players hugging one another. Right at the death, the Germans have won it.